Greetings, everybody. It's Friday, at least in most places. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the Morning. I'm Tom Connors. The boss man is here, and he's being retweeted by celebrity folk.
Yeah.
What?
Is it a life achievement unlocked when your Graham Hancock review is retweeted by Graham Hancock himself? Because that happened.
Nice.
I thought
Wow.
so. So
Congratulations.
having a good Friday morning.
And we have Culture Casino with us. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Another $8 well spent this month, so pretty excited.
Kanye knows it's a weave.
Maybe that's true, but it's not.
That was part of the joke too. Anyway,
Well, I'm sure that Kanye can will be glad to save those $8 because I think he's going to need them.
Yeah.
That's not available up here. We can't blue check yet up here in Canada. Can't buy ours yet.
you only can down here on like Apple stuff, which is weird considering the little battle.
That was
resolved.
It's resolved. It's resolved.
It is now, I know. And also joining us this morning from the Great White North, we have two Canadians. We have Paul Chato. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm just in the throes of editing lots of new stuff. I did a video for an entire week and then killed it. It was very depressing, but it was shit. So I basically was about a $60 million video. David Zaslav pulled the trigger, pulled it.
Pulled the plug on it.
Pulled the plug on it. He was right. And so now I'm working on new stuff. And then over there is Script Doctor.
Hi. Happy to be here.
Yes, as I was just going to say, Mr. Script Doctor.
Yes. I
Glad to
am
have you.
here. I am Canadian and I am here.
And that's me. Let's play Drop the Sack.
All right, kids. Good morning out there in YouTube land. We've got about 600 of you watching. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Say hello to our mods in the chat. They're sharing all the links and all that good stuff. As you see here, we got D-Bud Martin saying Paul, subscribe to Paul and whatnot.
Yep, thank you.
There you go. And let's get some super chats. What do you say, guys? We got Callum Lyle here who says, no matter how hard Kathleen Kennedy creates British self-inserts, she'll always be a yank crap.
Yeah,
What does that mean? Is she British?
No, but she wishes.
No,
she were
but
British.
her self-insert in Indiana Jones is British, as are all other of her self-inserts. I mean, what is Ray?
Interesting.
Not a posher, Britisher, more refined version of Kathleen Kennedy.
Don't forget Val Kilmer's daughter in Willow as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But she doesn't really have a British accent, does she? I can't remember.
I don't know about the accent, but she's still got brunette hair or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but
She
she's
still
pretty.
counts as an insert, and that's kind of like
That's
the fun
just a
thing.
side effect of sooner or later the odds were one of them was going to be pretty script. I mean,
Well, I've got a very terrible Phoebe Waller joke at the end of my video that I'm editing. I'm ashamed of it ahead of time, but it's funny. But
Well, she does have a big butthole, so she confirmed that in the pilot of.
No, I'm not using that joke. Wow, that's a quick start to
well, if you think this Indiana Jones movie,
Friday, so
if you think this Indiana Jones movie is going to be a hit, I got a Phoebe Waller bridge to sell you.
Hey, there you go. So what are we starting with first?
Bad jokes.
Bad jokes.
They will never stop.
We got Psychotic here. Hey all, it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Tom, would you please say my name as evil as you can with an evil laugh at the end? Happy birthday, Psychotic. How evil
was
enough
good.
was that?
That's pretty
that was
good.
very good. I do believe he's entitled to a Bat Tom appearance as well.
Oh.
For all the other birthday kids.
You know you're getting me off awfully damn early for this, Andy. It's Andre. Whatever. let's see here.
You're a creature of the night. I'm sure you'll manage.
That's the thing. I've been up all night, dude.
This is
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We got a birthday. Hold up. I'm going to let Batman finish. I just got to say right up front, Culture Casino is wearing a weave. Get out of here, ye. Jesus Christ.
That's like a 13-year-old joke, and it's still funny.
Am I going to sing here or what? Jesus.
Now,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Holy crap. This dude's name is Psychotic? That's a really cool last name, dude.
I thought it was sciatica.
No, that's like that thing in your back.
Oh, yeah, right.
I get that sometimes after I try to fight the penguin because he's fat.
Trying to lift him.
Yeah, don't do that.
Remember, if you're going to lift the penguin, lift with your knees.
Happy birthday, Psychotic.
And yes.
Did he finish?
Congratulations aside, let's move on to the next because
So
we have
we've
more
got E here. I know we weren't going to talk about him, but
he keeps leaving.
What was with that condom he was wearing over top of his head at the Alex Jones?
I think he thinks he's a Batman villain. That was my choice.
He's dressed like Antifa.
Oh, but without any kind of openings for his eyes or his mouth. It was very bondage Antifa.
Yeah. New side that we don't want to see.
Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah.
Bring out the gimp.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
Ye's sleeping.
Let's move on to more interesting.
Happy birthday, Psychotic. And he's also been a member for 2 months as well. Thank you. Callum Lyle says, I hope you'll do a Netflix Last of Us episode and have Mr. Reviews, Nerdrotic, and others on. The guy who made it wants to destroy his own creation. Well, I don't plan on watching this thing, Andre.
Well, I mean, Netflix 2 steps forward with Wednesday and $18.99, and then 1 step back with this.
Well, that's how it is when you're dealing with different creators and also different regimes, because Netflix, I know that they have actually done some cleanup in their ranks.
Oh, have they?
And even, and also with their content, because there was a time there when everything that they put out was activist. And the lessons they got from it was loud and clear. One of the clearest examples, actually, was the He-Man series, the He-Man revival, Masters of the Universe Revelation. Like, when season 1, part 1 came out, it was like in the top 10 all over the world. The hype was real. Everyone wanted to see it. Season 1, part 2, dead. Nothing. Never trended anywhere. No one cared. They got that message very loud and clear. I have on good authority. And they made some... it caused some soul searching in there. But still, you have like some things that were already in development. And when you have like the creatives who are true believers, which is the case with Last of Us, are we going to see it and review it? I don't know. We'll see. We didn't do anything with Resident Evil. Last of Us, of course, is something bigger. So no.
Last of Us is a bit different in that the original creators were very proud and of Last of Us 2. And I won't get into how they changed it because I thought it made I didn't like it.
Are you referring to the inclusion of the character in the previous, or sometimes known as man-bear thing?
Well, what they did with the main guy and turned him bad when he really wasn't.
Oh, right. We subverted expectations then.
And then they, brought in a alternative worldview character as a hero. And I just was not interested. I mean, the game became horrible. I wasn't interested in playing that character. But the first Last of Us was brilliant, but they've now reverse subverted it. They've decided that Last of Us 2 was the template for success. But that's the originator, the people who originated that.
Naughty Dog.
So
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a drag, but What can you do?
Sometimes creations have to be protected from their creator.
You know what? If it's the original creator going down this route, you know what? More power to them. And if they get to sell it, fantastic. And then the marketplace will decide whether it works or not. But the way Resident Evil, which has not been in the original creator's hands for decades, was transformed on Netflix, was laughably bad. That's a different issue, I think.
I agree with Andre though. Sometimes creations need to be saved from their creators. It's just it's just one of those things. But,
well, you could say that about the Lucasfilm, Star Wars 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
There are some people who feel that way. Indeed,
yep. They should have been saved from George.
Some people definitely think that George didn't have enough pushback, and that part is true. And it's very obvious in the making of the first film, when he's getting, a bunch of yes men around him. And then the moment he walks out of the room, then you get their actual opinions. It's like, why didn't you say that shit when he was in the room? It could have completely changed the trajectory of the film. And then at the end of the making of it, when he's gets done watching the screening, and you sit there seeing him, tussle his hair and stuff. And he's like, it's just, I can't change it now. There's too much going on here, but I can't do anything because once you take something out, it falls apart. So he kind of knew he went a little too far with it, but he had to
this is all 2020.
live with it at that point. Yeah.
It is 2020. And if anyone's seen the Phantom edit of episode 1, it's fantastic. It actually
of course
into a fantastic movie, but it needed that kind of edit.
And in hindsight, the prequels are much, they're respected highly compared to the sequels. So you have that problem too now.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are rewatchable. Certainly, and 3 is the best of the first.
I actually like 1 and 3. 2 was the one that disappointed me quite highly.
Halfway through 2, it picks up. But now we're getting into a completely different discussion here.
Well, it's predicated on a love story with which George does not know how to write. He doesn't know how to write love stories. That's the problem.
But he did stick Padme in some BDSM stuff, though.
Well,
and then she's like, "You can't touch. You can look, but you can't touch."
But that's understanding the difference between lust and love, right? So
yeah,
she was dressed lustfully, but was there really chemistry for love there? I did not see it.
I don't know.
Didn't his wife at
Sparks
the time
flew? That's because there was 2 very wooden
3?
performances.
No, she was gone. She was gone during the making of Return of the Jedi.
What I meant was 4, 5, and 6.
Oh yeah, yep, she did.
Yeah, she helped edit 4, 5, and 6. In fact, she famously reworked the ending of the 4th film, A New Hope, whatever you want to call it, to where there was a countdown. Because before that, it was just the rebels going after the Empire.
Well, she did more than just the countdown.
And she did some other things too. Yeah, but that was the big thing she added to it.
Luke did 2 runs on the Death Star trench, and he failed the first time. And she's like, "You have to do it. We've had 4 runs on the same target. She said we have to do it 3 times. So Luke has to use the Force the first time, and it makes him more powerful, and it shows him his commitment to believing. And then, yeah."
Well, all that stuff you see it's called saving it in the edit. Certainly she would have been helpful with movies 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Well, and you had at least, we know Carrie Fisher helped rewrite 3, or script doctored 3.
Yep.
We don't know about the first 2.
She did?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
In exchange for, I believe, some money and the only high-res copy of the Star Wars Christmas holiday special, so she could play it to get people out of her house.
And here's a bit of trivia. The person who directed the Frantics shows, TV shows, directed the Star Wars Christmas special. I won't mention.
So his punishment was to direct your show?
Yes. No, it went the other way around. George Lucas was apparently very enamored with his work on our show, and it was good. And he wanted the same kind of thing for the Christmas special, but it got so bad. The director, who will not be named, actually left the production because he was frustrated and just took off, and then was finished off by, I think, the writer of the Christmas special. So I have a connection to George Lucas's Christmas special.
Aside from playing an Ewok.
As I said, you also played an Ewok. So what's next?
And an Ewok. I don't know. If they
He was
want...
a leg of a tauntaun, and we didn't know it.
I have many skills, of course. But if Disney Star Wars wants to call me and perform in any of their movies, I have integrity.
Maybe they'll make a live action version of the Ewoks cartoon.
The making of Ewoks, just my voiceover. Paul Chatto's Trials and Tribulations, making Ewoks.
Like the Weird Al story, only the Paul Chato story.
Right. It could be a 6-parter.
I was an Ewok.
I was an Ewok, and showing me in an alleyway drinking alcohol, in
an Ewok costume with the head off. Yeah,
that's the head off.
The day George fired me was the worst ever.
That's right.
I think we're not going to do anymore.
You know what? That's actually not a bad parody. I was
Sorry,
top
Paul.
of
They're going to let you go.
I was at the top. I would go to fairs and parties dressed as Paplu, and I was so popular.
I was doing 6 Chuck E. Cheese shows a week.
And
the entire cast had to dress up as Ewoks to voice the cartoon. That was the only way they could pull it off.
That's right. Then the wheels fell off of my.
Then they decided to
career.
cute it up and make it for girls, and
That's right.
Fuck that show after they changed it. Oh my god.
Anyway, I had to work with and never mind.
You have no idea how pissed off I was as like a 6-year-old
with
when they changed Ewoks. Because that first season is brilliant. Then the second season, they made it that cutesy wootsy shit. They changed all the colors. I don't even think they had you guys doing the voices anymore because they changed all the voices.
No, I think the animation house got changed.
Yeah, it was completely different. And it was like, what the fuck? They made this for girls now, is all I remember saying. And I shut it off.
It was pretty good. There were some good stories in season 1 of Ewoks.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about season 2 is where they destroyed it. That's what I mean.
Yeah. I wasn't in it. They didn't want
that
me.
part doesn't help. Yes.
No. I'm bitter.
But at least the first season had the tone of kind of more along the lines of the Ewok specials and the movies. The second season was like My Little Pony type shit.
Well, they actually did a pretty good job of building up the relationship between the different characters. I remember, who's the lead Ewok's name? Do you guys remember? Wicket. Yeah, Wicket. So I was Wicket's best friend.
They added him like a girl counterpart, but other than that, yeah.
But they gave him someone he could date.
Yeah. Anyway, Callum Lyle, we'll see. That we went way off the beaten path there.
Sure did. Wow.
Hyperguyver2 says, Tom, you're always saying we need more cocaine and capitalism in Hollywood, and now we have Cocaine Bear to deliver us both.
Yep.
Well, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get to eat people when you're raging on cocaine.
And that's an Elizabeth Banks directed movie, and I give her full credit. The trailer looks great.
It does. If she actually makes something good, then
it's gaining a lot of buzz.
Well, she did those singing movies, and they were good. They were funny.
Well, she did the second and third one, not the first one, I think.
Pitch.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I don't give her a lot of credit for anything, but if this is a good film, she'll get praise. Again, if you make something good, I'm going to give you praise. If you make garbage, I'm going to trash it. The
pitch movies were huge. They did
it's
very
perfect.
well.
I mean, it's a trilogy for a reason, right? I mean, you don't get 3 movies if you don't do at least one of them good.
Girls like singing stuff.
Yeah.
But there was humor in there that I think was very unexpected, that a lot of people would not have anticipated. And a lot of it was generated by that one lead Aussie chunky girl who is genuinely funny.
Who isn't chunky anymore.
No, well, yeah. But I'm just saying she was fantastic in those movies, and Banks certainly knew how to exploit her talents in the movies. So I give her full credit. It was clear in those movies that she had the chops, and even in that, the thing with the girls, the 3 girls,
Charlie's Angels,
the camera work, the direction itself was really good. It just wasn't a good movie.
Yeah. No, that's more of a bad movie by way of the script, not so much that the actors or the direction of it.
And the girls were not suitably different enough. Again, it was one of those movies where they're all kind of young things. Okay, thanks.
Well, one's taller than the other, and that's about all the difference you really get.
Yeah, that was about it. So, I mean, I really believe you need to have very drastic differences in the cast, like they did in the previous Charlie's Angels movie and TV show. They got at least that part nailed down.
Well, Cocaine Bear looks fun.
Yeah, it
So we'll have
does.
to see.
Wow. And I love the fact that the three bears look horribly different. They've got the animatronic bear, they've got the CGI bear, and then they've got a real bear. And you can tell when they're using each one. And I actually love it. It gives me kind of a Tremors vibe. Anyway.
Kind of. And I like the horror comedy bent, but there's part of me that almost wishes they would have done just a straight comedy version of this movie too. Because as far as I know, the real bear didn't actually kill anybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it also died 15 minutes after eating.
Yeah.
It would not have made a very good movie.
No, but it would have been funny if it would have been just like a bunch of kids partying in the woods and the bear ate cocaine and started partying with them.
Now we're rewriting the movie from the trailer.
I would have thought that was fun.
Watch the fucking movie, Tom.
I know.
The trailer is good.
I don't trust Elizabeth Banks. Here's the problem. She's made she's made 1.5 good movies or so, and that's about it.
Oh, you're wrong.
Have you seen any of her other shit?
I saw the singing movies.
That's it. That's my point.
Yeah, but they were good. They were well done. And she has a sense
she did the second and third one. I don't think she had anything to do with the first one.
Oh, okay.
So,
and then she made this movie. What was it called? Movie 54 or some shit like that.
No, she directed a sequence. Everybody got swindled by that.
She was part of that business, and then she did the Charlie's Angels thing.
Don't judge a book by the cover. Just watch the movie.
I hope it's good.
Yeah, well, the trailer says yes, so I'm willing to give it a shot. That's really what trailers are about, which is what we're talking about here. Indiana Jones trailer versus the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. What would you watch the movies just based on these trailers that you've seen? That's really ultimately the question, right?
I would have liked this movie 20 years ago if it was directed by John Carpenter. I might like it now. We'll see. It looks fun. Alan Octavian Moldovan says, evening panel. Actually, it's morning for us, but good evening to you. I think the downfall of Indy is going to hurt 10 times worse than Star Wars.
Yeah.
I feel it's the death of an icon, a masculine one for the greed, I think he means, of SJW. You know what?
For the greed.
A creed could be.
Yeah, for the greed. Like it's their glory and it's their honor and it's their pride.
All right. Well, here's the problem. Indy already died in Crystal Skull.
We all saw the South Park parody afterwards.
Yep.
But now with this super chat, let's get into that very topic. Yeah. Because yesterday we got the title and the trailer for the new Indiana Jones movie, which will be called The Pick of Destiny. No, wait, that came out wrong.
Yeah, that's
that
Tenacious
would
D.
The Dial of Destiny. I don't know which is worse of the two. I think I prefer Pick of Destiny. And we got the trailer, and my only thought after seeing that trailer was this is a bait and switch, and Doomcock was right. That's
well, you kind of stole my punchline there, because I was going to say Matt Kadish asked, what does everybody think of the trailer? And my first response was Doomcock was right.
I don't think it's bait and switch. I think it's a bad handoff movie. I think this is the Force Awakens.
The trailer is definitely the same kind of beats and structure as Force Awakens. And I think they're hiding Phoebe.
Yeah, but it's a bad handoff movie. Why wouldn't you highlight this creaky, old, arthritic Indy? But I mean, I hated this trailer, but other people can comment first.
Yeah, I've seen some people love the trailer.
Yeah,
I don't think they're being fooled. But they're very aware that this is probably that they're being, honey-dicked basically.
I will be honest. Had I not heard everything I have heard about the movie, I would have liked this trailer. I mean, when you look at it, it's edited like The Force Awakens. And The Force Awakens was received well. It took a while for people to really understand what that movie did. So just from that perspective, right, when you just ignore everything else, you ignore everything you have heard, you ignore what was done to Star Wars, and you just look at this trailer, I think many are going to be fooled, and I can't blame them.
I can
Because
see
it
that.
looks like a return to the classic indie. It has all the nostalgia beats, everything like that. You have,
But they're
you have
manipulated. It's
characters,
bullshit
everything.
beats.
Yeah.
This is the Fast and Furious version with
I
ridiculous.
agree with Paul. I'm more in line with Paul. This did not feel like indie to me.
No, this feels like the Fast and this. My review, which hopefully will be coming out, is that Guardians of the Galaxy was supposed to be the cartoon. This was supposed to be real. They flipped it. Guardians of the Galaxy feels real, even with all the crazy characters, the CGI backgrounds. This is the Looney Tunes cartoon. This has been Fast and Furioized with ridiculous gravity defying bullshit CGI. With no development.
That jump from one truck to another did not feel real, and it doesn't feel like it's filmed for an Indiana Jones type of movie. There's a specific way they do car chases in Indy, and this felt like a contemporary car chase you'd see in Baby Driver, Fast and the Furious,
right?
Any of the Mission Impossible films. It just did
not
feel
script.
Yeah.
Although Baby Driver, all that stuff was real, but the one thing that really defines,
I mean, the camera work more for Baby Driver, not so much the actual.
The
thing
that defines Indy is like that scene in the first movie where he's being pulled under the German truck, and he's wrapped his whip around the bumper. That's like a seminal version of it's an adventure. It looked real. It was practical, and there's like almost nothing practical in this, including the CGI of Indy clearly riding that horse.
Yeah.
Well, and I've had a number of people tell me that because they're horse riders, that horse would never go down in a fucking subway like that.
Well, I'm
not without being resistant as fuck.
Well, there's that. I'm just talking about the face. Anyways,
yeah,
so
but no,
that
yeah.
To me is my summary, is that Guardians looks real. This looks like a cartoon, which it shouldn't be.
I think what we're missing here big time is Spielberg. Even though he was, kind of phoning it in with Kingdom of Crystal Skull, at least there was bits and pieces of it that felt indie.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree with you.
Here, you're right. Like there's way too much special effects. Mangold does not know how to shoot things the way that Spielberg does. That's clear. Because, like I said, say what you will about Spielberg phoning it in on Crystal Skull. At least the action sequences and certain things that he was working on feel very Spielbergian until they get overly CGI, right? Like
you mean the swinging in vines with the
swinging in until you get to that point. Yeah, when you get to that point, then it goes off the rails. But like
Blanchett
the fight, the little fight in the truck and all that stuff was that's very Spielbergian, right? Like all that stuff prior to that.
Blanchett was a good
great villain, yeah.
And they don't even. It's the Finnish guy is apparently, I guess, the bad guy in this. We don't even see him. Miles Matson.
Matt
Nicholson. Danish guy.
He's Danish.
He's Danish, yeah.
I thought he was Finnish. Sorry.
No, you just made both all of the Finns and all of the Danes in the crowd cry. But
woohoo! A twofer. We call that a twofer up here in Canada.
Well, we got to look at some of the younger CGI'd Harrison Ford, and I believe they have the kid who did the
Chinook
fixed look. Yeah, Chinook, or how you say his name. I think he's doing the work, so that's probably why those couple shots didn't look so bad. But again, it's just, even though this is a quick teaser trailer and we don't really get much story out of it, a lot of it is supporting what we've heard in the leaks. So, I mean, to me, I had my big issue with the last film was the Crystal Skull goes away from the whole idea of what the first three films are. Adding time travel to the mix also goes away from what the first three films were. The title is horrible. I'm glad to see Harrison Ford back in action, but how much Harrison Ford are we actually going to see, and how much of it's going to be a stunt?
What's funny, and again, I talk about this in my review, is that after the mistake of whatever the second film was called, the addition of Sean Connery, that's what this movie should have been. It should not have been Harrison Ford imitating young Harrison Ford. He should have been the Sean Connery character.
They tried doing that in the last one, Paul. That was the whole idea of bringing Mutt in.
No. But I don't think you have another choice. You don't have a choice. He
has to ascend to the mentor role now.
Yeah, I mean, like Tom Cruise.
Like I just said, that's kind of what they tried doing in the last movie, but it didn't quite work out.
Well, but that there was a million other things wrong with the movie other than that conceptual concept.
Well, I'm not going to argue with that point, but here's the other thing: is there's some people who were impressed with the whip scene in the where he got shot at and stuff. I'm like,
that was stupid.
That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. They'd both be dead.
Yeah, what a cartoonish callback to what was that in the first movie where
to the swordsman and the gun.
Yeah, and it's very poorly done. And this was the scene that Mangold said that he was so hip on because it was a callback to that scene. I'm like, so this whole thing is predicated on these idiots not shooting down.
And
right.
Also,
and this is my point about
that in mind.
Looney Tunes. This is cartoonish.
And keep in mind, this was the scene that Mangold highlighted, as you.
That's what I just said.
Tom.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, as you pointed out, and you know what that tells me. That scene is as good as it's going to get.
Probably
it's
right.
going to be terrible.
What's weird is that the idea is good. The execution was stupid because it was cartoony. It's like, oh yeah, he brings a whip to a gunfight. That's the a reversal on that first one. That's a good idea. How do we make that work? And then we get this one because, like I said last night, I liked the idea and I thought it was funny, but I can't disagree with the execution that it's very cartoonish.
But it makes the character regress. See, this is the problem that I have with the way they deconstruct every single character in every single franchise that they've acquired. They're going out of their way in even the stuff that we saw in this trailer to deconstruct this character, to tear him down, to make him lesser. He's going to pull out a whip at a gunfight. No.
Well, they don't have the guns yet. Like, he doesn't know that.
Well, it wouldn't matter. I mean, the reaction, and again, we don't know the context of it all, but I'm just, it wouldn't be anything. I can't imagine getting from point A to point B in this segment. There has to be something, some kind of magical story element that happens before this scene that would make sense for him to have this kind of reaction. And then again, it makes zero sense, like you guys were pointing out, that the gunmen don't, change the angle of their firearms because you want to not shoot the window, you want to shoot the guy.
And maybe I'm being a little bit pedantic on this, but that was a small, tight area. You pull out a whip that you can't, even if you're in good control of it, those people would be rushing from the table because that thing is flying all over the place, and that should have caused a clearing of the room, or at least, you're just going like
Skin
this.
would be splitting all over their faces and hands and everything of that nature because whips hurt.
Whips hurt, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah,
it's just stupid. It's just ridiculous. Bit of film.
Well, and on the whole reversal thing, I was just saying it in the private chat here because I was trying to remember if it was. I think it was Last Crusade. Didn't they already do a reversal play on the whole gun thing?
Yeah,
because he goes for his gun when that big guy is going after him, and he's like, "Oh shit, I don't have the gun," so he had to fight him with his fist or whatever.
Yes, they did that callback already.
You talking about the plane?
Or maybe it was in Raiders already. I don't remember, but I thought it was Last Crusade.
Well, there's always, that's the other part too. The big guy that Indy fights, he passed away after the Last Crusade, so he wasn't in the fourth film. But in each film, he has to do a fight with
like
him.
A Die Hard fight, yeah,
the Die Hard type fight, and So I guess it's not necessarily a callback because he reaches for his gun, but he doesn't have it because the guy's coming at him with his fist, not with a sword.
That's anything, true. Right? But I think it was. I thought that was kind of my whole idea was that it was kind of
this whole thing is just so non-stop, non-character building hyper. I really loved the opening where I heard John Rhys Davies' voice. Mm-hmm. That was a really emotional beat. It was great seeing them together as two old guys. And if the movie was just them going on a wine tour of Tuscany, I would have watched it.
The problem you also have here is you have two trailer lines in this fucker. You don't just have one, you have two. You have the first one where he's like, I've seen a lot of things. I never used to believe in magic. And then the last part, it's like, doesn't matter what you believe in, as long as you believe in it. It's like, what the fuck? That's almost as bad as, it's true. All of it. It's the same shit. It's like, these are trailer lines. They have nothing to do with anything. And I'm just like, I'm not sold on this. I've seen a lot of people who are eating it up, and it's like, I'm glad you guys are
But I can
enjoying
understand
it.
why they're eating it up, because
Oh, me too. That's what I'm saying. Is like, I can see why you're
the hyper generation.
And then they're being catfished, though, I feel like. Yeah, sorry.
I'm just saying, I mean, everyone's on their phones. Everyone needs to be entertained every single second. There can't be a pause. And this trailer fills that need.
Well, and Indy is a bit of a different animal than Star Wars. They have two different kind of crowds. Yes, they cross over, but Indy has a little bit different crowd than Star Wars, to where I wonder how they're going to react to this movie, because they didn't really care for the last one.
But you're right. Whoever said that this, maybe it was me that said it was like the Star Wars #7. That Star Wars #7 basically just repeated the best beats of Star Wars #4.
Yeah,
and so here we've got Nazis again. Thank you. Right, Nazi. We've got the car chase in a dusty Middle Eastern street. Great. We got a whip scene. We got guys fighting on top of trains. Dear Lord, like I think it's going to be successful because it's callbacks to all the old shit.
That depends entirely on the movie itself, because if the rumors that have been reported by Doomcock and then independently of him reported by the Daily Mail as well, this is going to drop like a stone. It may open decent, but then it doesn't matter how many callbacks there are, everything like that, because this is going to have the Last Jedi moment in it. It's going to be The Force Awakens rolled in with The Last Jedi all in one go. And then it doesn't matter the callbacks. It doesn't matter how many good moments are in it, because it's just going to fall flat on its face for what has been done to Indiana Jones. And it's going to be to him as well, in addition to all the others that it's been done to, who've been completely sidelined.
I'm predicting that the people of Wakanda will give him Indy a proper burial.
Yeah, we shall see. But also, and here's my question: if people like us tune out, how many younger people are into Indiana Jones? I'm asking because I don't know.
None.
It has because the Crystal Skull was what? How many years ago now?
2008.
Okay, and not only that was probably,
so, I think, 14 years ago.
If you factor in inflation, I think it was the lowest grossing of the bunch. And then the fact that Indy like Avatar, hasn't had a bunch of video games and stuff like that to keep it in the public eye.
Basically, it's two generations. Generations since Indiana Jones was on top of popular culture. There hasn't been that big a call for him to return or anything like that. I don't know how well this movie is going to play with anyone under the age of 40. And everyone over the age of 40 are going to be appalled by what is done to Indiana Jones.
They'll come out the first day.
Here's the thing, and I think you're right. Here's the problem you'll have with this. This had the potential to be the next Top Gun Maverick, and I think they're trying to sell it as that in the trailer, and they're hoping that it'll play the first opening weekend, like Paul's saying, because after that, word of mouth's going to get out about it, because they're clearly hiding Phoebe in this trailer. We know she's in this movie quite a fucking bit. She's got, what, two or three whole shots in this trailer in one line? So she's barely in the son of a bitch. We're not seeing that much of the movie. This is all probably the stuff from the first few minutes of the movie, like as far as Indy goes. And then the stuff with her is probably in the first 20 minutes.
This is the bait and switch.
That's what I'm saying. This is like a Marvel scene. Like a Marvel trailer where they only give you certain things and then you realize, oh, that was just barely a pinch of what this is.
Yeah. Basically, this is the bait and switch trailer. This is where they sell a different movie than the one they intend to release. Here they have all of the footage they probably have with Harrison Ford in action interspersed throughout the movie. It's all in here, so you get the impression that it's going to be really Indiana Jones heavy, a return to form and everything. and it's not going to. And we'll see that.
Well, this
Well, I think
movie
he'll
has,
still be in the movie a lot, but I think she's in it a lot more than they're portraying here. Sorry, go ahead.
this movie has the problem I discussed before, where the original, even if you're talking about Toy Story and Indy, these are nostalgia movies about a past that the creators remember fondly. Okay, so that nostalgia is now so far in the past, no modern individual remembers what the fuck they're referring to. And the movies themselves are now so old that they have passed the nostalgia mark themselves. So they're
you have a problem there. Yeah,
that's the problem.
On your first point, I agree 100%, Paul. On the second point, not quite so much. I mean, we've handed these films down to multiple generations. As they've aged, through video cassette to Blu-ray to 4K re-releases or whatever.
I'm not so sure how many under the age of 40 are active fans, though.
Yeah,
Am I the only one on this panel under the age of 40?
probably.
Yeah.
Me,
Probably.
I am.
No, I will agree though. I think that I would go as far as to say 30. I would say anybody
fine.
under
say 30. Say 30.
I would
then.
say under 30, that unlike Star Wars, Indiana Jones does not have the same audience. And that was what I was saying before. Indiana Jones has a closer audience to the type of audience that went to see Top Gun. So the potential is there, but the question is, how many were turned off by Crystal Skull? How many can forget about Crystal Skull? How many are going to be honey-dicked into seeing this, thinking they're going to get something that along the lines of Raiders? And they're going to get in there and realize, oh shit, this is just another Force Awakens Last Jedi situation.
I don't think it's a Crystal Skull issue. I think it's now a defunding of the Disney movie brand is going to hurt it more.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Paul. I don't think the Crystal Skull
brand is.
I don't think the Crystal Skull is going to have that detriment of an effect on this.
It's Disney brand. Like, it sucks. That's going to be what keeps people away from this movie.
Exactly.
They're killing off all their brands 100%, and after what they've done to Willow and everything else, I mean, Lucasfilm is going to be a rambling shell of itself. There's not going to be any reason to consume Lucasfilm product going forward. And so I think you're 100% right there. But I would argue and push back just a little bit, because on the physical entertainment side, when you get to theme parks and places like that, there's still an overwhelming demand for the attractions in the theme parks that the kids are involved in. And there is a demand, or is a continued demand or request to replace a terrible attraction in Florida with the Indiana Jones attraction or something similar in Florida that mimics what's in California. That California attraction at Disneyland gets tons of traffic every single day. So there's a physical manifestation of interest there. So I think
constantly rely on your old IP. So
I agree with you.
Lucasfilm created how many different IPs? Lots of games. Indiana Jones, Star Wars,
Willow, Maniac Mansion,
and since they were absorbed by the Disney Borg, they've just been relying on their old pocket change that they find in the couches, and they've not come up with a single new IP, which you have to keep the entire franchise of all your franchise are also dependent on the new IPs that you create. They drag them along.
Can I ask, because you would know this, do you suspect that there was an ulterior motive for not leaning further into the video games for both Star Wars and Indiana Jones, like LucasArts did prior to the sale to Disney?
Well, part of it is the shambles that EA made of the
LucasArts,
the Star Wars games, and they not invented loot boxes, but the whole loot box thing really soured the entire Star Wars video games. That was a disaster.
Yeah.
So it's been one greedy disaster after another. I mean, all these things start because people love something. And we've lost that. That drives me nuts, which is, I think the gun movies feel like there's someone who loves this stuff. That to me is the big difference. I don't think anyone loves any of the stuff they're making at Star Wars or anything at Disney anymore. No one loves it.
Well, Mangold may be a fan. I'm not going to say he's not. I mean, there's certain aspects to it that I can see in the trailer that he is, but I don't think he understands it, and or he's got too many other cooks in the kitchen telling him what he should be doing.
Well, that's a different issue, but I mean, corporately, they're not loving anything. Everything is a pain.
Well, it's it feeds into, or it's been fed into by recent comments from people who work on these projects saying that they don't want fans engaged in the material because when they're making, the new products, because they don't want that. They don't want fans. They don't want people that are conversant in the material because it makes it so they can't change it fundamentally. And
you don't want lore masters telling you that you can't change a hair on that vole. I mean, you don't want that, but you do want creative people who can carry on the legacy of the original creators.
Well, wouldn't it be helpful to have people that are conversant in it at least and have an affinity or a feeling about it?
Yeah, like I said, it's dangerous hiring lore masters.
Yeah, because it's one thing to have someone that knows it and is able to be flexible with the idea of creativity, and there's another that knows it and says, no, you can't do anything. You can't give Luke Skywalker a son, or you can't make Leia abandon the Force and become a politician. Like, there's so many things that you want to explore with these characters in a different avenue than what we've seen before, that some lore masters, and it's not because they're lore masters, it's because of the type of person they are, will just outright knock everything down and say, no, you can't do this. And that's antithetical to the creative process. You need to find the type of people that are like, yes, I know all of these stories, all these things about the characters. They are pitched to the writing team or creative team pitches them as things to feel the waters and see what direction to go. And if the lore master says, well, if you want to do this outcome, this is how it will fit into canon and not violate anything, as opposed to just saying, no, you can't do that, because you're going to get way more no, you can't do that than you are going to be people who says this is how we can make that work.
So let me give you an example from the Apple days. When I worked for Apple, it was during the Steve Jobs black period where he wasn't there. So it was Mr. Spindler, Herr Spindler, we called him. And it was crazy at Apple because so many people were going, what would Steve do? What would Steve do? What would Steve do? No, you had this new guy running the company, but everyone was running around going, what would Steve do? To the point where we produced a product that we got literally the Apple police on our throats because they felt that the colors in the Apple, because at the time Apple had a colorful logo, multiple stripes, they felt that we were not using the right Pantone colors. They actually had a group of people policing whether companies were using the Apple logo correctly. A complete waste of time. But this is what happens when the creator of the company leaves, and then it just becomes this bureaucratic mess where everyone is just going. The same thing happened with Disney. I heard that before Eisner came on board, everyone was going, well, what would Walt do? What would Walt do? What would Walt do? And then Eisner actually, at the beginning of his career tenure at Disney, did some amazing things and just basically said, fuck Walt. We're doing it my way. And he brilliantly transformed the company at the very beginning. So I mean,
you're right. You need that happy medium. You need somebody who respects what came before, understands why the fans enjoyed it, but then also knows how to build upon that. And that's why we usually bring up Nicholas Meyer as a great example.
Right. And people overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
Often. And like Eisner did. I mean, that seems to be the cycle.
Well, there's even an argument to be made that Roddenberry kind of worked against TNG for a while there. Because his whole thing was, he didn't want to have interpersonal conflicts. And it's like, well, to a point, you kind of have to have certain things happen or it's just going to be a very procedural show.
Well, that came from the writers of the first season not understanding what Roddenberry wanted, because he was fine with interpersonal conflicts that are not petty driven. Because if you take a look at the original series, Spock and McCoy have a lot of conflict, but it's not petty conflict. It's philosophical. It's based on ideas. And you're dealing with a bunch of writers who, throughout the 80s, came from dramas and other sitcoms. Well, the conflict was driven by petty, personal things that are not, philosophical in nature. And it wasn't until Michael Piller got involved where he was like, saying, okay, well, we're going to focus more on the characters, but we're going to try and stay true to the fact that any conflict that they have is not going to be, oh, that person's dating someone that I want to date, because that's too lowbrow.
Basically what Star Trek is now.
Yes.
Yeah. But Roddenberry apparently, you Star Trek lore people can correct me, but my understanding was that he didn't like Shatner because it turned it too melodramatic, and he wanted a Star Wars that was more like the way a submarine was managed, which is why TNG felt much more militaristic. That was actually,
I don't know about that. Actually, I thought he wanted to go away from more of the militaristic part of it.
No, okay. That's just my understanding, is that he didn't want the melodrama of Shatner. He wanted it to be more, very command and control.
I mean, yes, he based the idea of it on his service in the Navy, from my understanding, but
sure, lots of people in the Navy worked on the show.
As far as the military part of it, like, I think he didn't want Starfleet to be seen as a military organization. That was one thing I think was a point of his contention. Fine. No, I don't know otherwise, but like, I do know though that like my whole point though is he would even like micromanage the scripts though too, to a point, right? Like he was rewriting scripts all the time and stuff like that. So that angered a lot of the writers as well on the show.
Okay, so what else is new?
Yeah, that's par for the course when you're either the showrunner or creator of a show.
Yeah,
well, you guys keep pulling me away from my point. My point was everybody seems to love to suck the dick of Star Trek TNG past season 3. And what's the difference? Roddenberry's no longer involved past season 3.
Okay, there you go.
That's the point I was trying to get to from the beginning.
I have mentioned on many times before that I do like a number of episodes from the first 2 seasons because they are very Star Trek-y episodes.
I do too.
They're
yes,
going to other planets and dealing with those civilizations, and then once you get past season 3, it's the state of the galaxy. It's no longer exploring new worlds. It's what's the state of the galaxy with the Federation, the Cardassians, the Klingons, the Romulans. It's where's the strange new worlds aspect of it. Those were few and far between, at least in my recollection of Star Trek.
I liked the first episode of TNG, Encounter at Farpoint.
I thought it was good too.
I thought that gave us a completely new introduction to like otherworldly beings that we weren't familiar with. I thought that kind of set things off on the right foot. But I agree with you.
My biggest. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we just really didn't get where we needed to go until after season 3. I think that's probably true. But of course, by season 6, I was out again because it just kind of started to fall apart. So.
Didn't like A Fistful of Datas?
No.
My biggest problem with TNG was the fact that they were so far in the future, yet they couldn't figure out how to make a uniform that didn't require constantly being yanked.
I liked the Picard maneuver.
No, everyone was yanking. I mean, you figure they would have come up with some fucking lycra that wouldn't need yanking.
Well, or at least something that would go around your crotch so it would hold it down, right?
Yeah.
I think that's, to me, that only brought it as realistic. That the people designing the uniforms aren't necessarily the ones who have to end up using it.
Well, there
go. There are a ton of military personnel all over the world that will share their grievances with their uniforms that don't quite fit, that have all these little annoying little things. To me, I like that yank. It only sold it to me. Like, here's an organization that's far into the future and they still can't get the uniforms right because the designers aren't wearing them. There's a whole different bureaucracy, and that you have to yank it every time you get up. You're just going to have to suck it up because that's not part of the specification.
It would have been better if it was like he had like underwear issues and he had to just keep pulling, down farther. That would have been more realistic.
Yeah, but we have plenty more super chats to go through, and we also have more trailers to discuss because all of this started from the Indiana Jones trailer.
Did we talk about the name though? Have we covered the dial?
We have not covered the name, the pick of destiny, as it should have been called, and the dial of destiny, as it is called instead. One of the points that I made about it is that I have to say I dislike the name. Because as was pointed out to me, Tom, I believe it was you that made that point, so full credit to you. How about you? You just repeat what you said on Mr. Edge yesterday about what makes the previous names also special, and how that is different from what we're getting right now, if the dog will allow you.
Is he there?
I'm guessing the dog did not allow him. Okay, but then I
What
shall
do you need?
Okay. The Indiana Jones names, the previous movies. Why
well,
were
here's
they
the thing.
so good?
Like, okay, when you get to Crystal Skull, Crystal Skull has the same problem. It's too on the nose. Because Raiders of the Lost Ark is not Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant. You know, the second one isn't the Temple of the Thuggee. The third one isn't the Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail. And right there lies what I'm talking about here. It sounds like a Monty Python title, right? Like, that's what kind of like rubbed me the wrong way about Crystal Skull. You have the same thing here, the Dial of Destiny. It's too on the fucking nose. And it probably, like we were joking last night, will literally be like this box with a dial on it, where you dial it and it take the plane or whatever it is you're in, because we saw it in the thing, takes you back in time like through a flash of light or whatever. I called it the space vagina.
Maybe it's a phone box. Those have dials.
Yeah, could be. Who knows?
I think it's a police box, a blue police box.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Well, what strikes me is how many people in modern generation know the term dial with regards to like changing the channel and the dial on a television or the dial on a radio. I mean,
right, but we haven't had them for how long?
Don't have dials anymore.
That's a good point. That's a good point. When I first heard it, I thought it meant the birth control container with all the pills for the month.
The sundial.
So you're saying they should have called it Indiana Jones and the display, the touch screen of Destiny?
Yeah, I think that would have been good. Or the iPhone of Destiny. Or
that's not how the Force works.
The iPad of Destiny.
The touch screen of Destiny.
But they're just not hip. You just feel it. You can tell when a group of people are really surfing the crest of their creativity and having a really good time, and every single thing that they're doing has a nice twist to it, and every piece of the puzzle is nicely arranged. And you just can tell from this stupid trailer that right from the title, the Dial of Destiny. Bing, bing. Can I come in? Yes, Mr. Evans. You can leave a package at the front door. Bing, bing. I don't know. It's like,
does this one go to 11?
Yes. The Dial of Destiny 11 comes
again. This one goes to 11.
I like that. Oh, see there, we've got our meme picture. The dial, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and then just have the shot from
Spinal Tap. Yeah.
From Spinal Tap. Oh, that's great. Good one,
this
Tom.
One goes to 11.
See, this one here, it doesn't sound pulpy like the other titles. Like even the Crystal Skull sounds pulpy.
That's my point, exactly, to a point. Yeah.
But doesn't sound pulpy at all. It sounds like an episode of Rick and Morty or something.
It sounds like a parody. Okay. It sounds like the Mad TV Saturday Night Live variety show style parody.
Yeah, like I said, Monty Python.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Here's my thing, though. You're right, Script, 100%. These need to sound like they should be the title of an old pulp or cereal,
Hardy
right?
Boys. Need to be Hardy Boy titles.
Tonight, it's the Hardy Boys and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, and even Crystal Skull works in that milieu.
Yeah, sort of, but...
Oh, no, it does. I mean, it's one of the lesser...
I have bigger problems overall with just introducing the Crystal Skull and aliens and shit into the Indiana Jones universe in general.
We don't know the Crystal Skulls were going to be aliens, though.
I was fine with the aliens being in Area 51 and Area 51 being the Ark is like a little joke and a snicker in the first 20 minutes of the movie. But once the entire movie became about aliens or interdimensional
but that's a different discussion. But if you picture the Hardy Boys cover and they're like looking at the Crystal Skull, that totally works.
Yes.
But the Dial of Destiny does not at all. You know, it's like the seesaw of the playground. What? The Hardy Boys and the playground seesaw. What?
That's the movie called The Pick of Destiny.
There's that too. And that was my first thought. Yeah. That's what I said to Valiant. But no, like that was my whole point with why I will like put Crystal Skull in that is because it's too on the fucking nose.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it's like if you're just going to call it the Hardy Boys and the cross dagger of Mexico or whatever, you know, like it's like that's not even inventive. That's just blatantly telling you what the MacGuffin is for the story.
Well, you got
You know,
say Indiana Jones and the Lost City of Knowledge. Like that's more.
That would have been a little bit more Indiana Jones-ish. Yes.
Yep. Indiana Jones and the Ajar fridge. No, that's
Anyway.
not good.
The Ajar icebox.
Let's see what the chat is saying, because Dark King says this isn't a disaster, it's a Disney-aster.
Woo! Oh my God. Memes aplenty today.
That it is. Psychotic says, I'm Dr. Bearzo. I'm the rock and roll bear. I do cocaine. I do cocaine. Mr. Twinkle.
Indiana Jones and the Cocaine Bear.
Yes, that would be a much more interesting film. That's not how cocaine works.
I'd see that before I'd see this. You get Bruce Campbell to play the role instead.
I love it.
Part of like the Bubba Hotep series.
Nice.
Mr. Tickle Trunk says bonus points to Psychotic for the Metalopolis reference. Yes. And then Psychotic says, wasn't there supposed to be a Metalopolis movie? I believe there was before John Schnepp passed, sadly, if I'm not mistaken, but it just never came to fruition. I don't know if anybody knows any more than that, but speaking on the note of like somebody else playing Indiana Jones, that was another thing that I was kind of, after watching the trailer, I thought to him, like, you know what? I'm at the point where I'm ready to let Harrison Ford go in this role. There's no reason we can't 007 this role, right? We could have Chris Pratt or somebody else playing this role.
But didn't they try to do that with Shia LaBeouf? Wasn't that the idea?
Well, that was a passing of the torch. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a literally James Bond situation where you actually just pretend he's still Indiana Jones. You can set it in the 1940s or whatever, 30s, and you just have somebody else playing Indiana Jones, and he's perpetually 30 or 40 for the rest of his life, or for the rest of our lives. You can just keep recasting him throughout the years.
So yeah, so keep him in his 40s and keep him in his in the 1930s.
Basically, yeah, like whether it's him or I know Script's not a huge fan of Scott Cooper or whatever, but I think he'd do an all right job as
Bradley Cooper?
Or Bradley Cooper, that's what I meant, yes.
Well, I would say as long as you do the adventures pre-World War II and post-World War II, you can have a lot of fun with that.
That's what I'm saying. You have a lot of ground to play in there, right? Like there's tons of stuff you can do.
Yeah, and you don't even need Nazis all the time.
No, it doesn't always have to be, but just keep it in that era to where you don't have to have this worry about, I'm too old for this shit. It's kind of depressing. It got depressing watching Crystal Skull with him waddling around the set then. Here we are almost 20 fucking years later.
It was pretty sad, like seeing him could no longer wear the outfit like this old man on the adventure when he was too old then. And that, as you say, is like now a decade and a half ago.
Basically, if you take the first 20 minutes or whatever of that movie where they're in the Area 51, if they just released that as like an Indiana Jones short film, I'd have been fine with that.
You mean an Indiana Jones Christmas special?
Something to that effect, yeah. If it would have just been a little short film like that, where then the whole joke at the end is that Area 51 is where the Ark of the Covenant is, credits. That would have been hilarious. That'd have been a cute little short film. I would have needed nothing else for the rest of my life from Indiana Jones.
But Kathleen Kennedy's goal was to replace him with a woman.
Yeah.
That was part of the plan.
With a brunette British woman.
With right from the beginning. And the thing is, when you think of the very first Raiders of the Lost Ark, Harrison Ford was a real He-Man. I mean, they actually had him bare-chested. So, and that was 40 plus years ago. And now, if he opened his shirt, they would see, support
a girdle.
A girdle.
Well, I mean, the other part too is Indiana Jones is a masculine heroic nerd. I mean, he's a professor of archaeology. That would have been, he would have been bullied in college in the 80s for trying to pursue that. He's this really cool, adventurous nerd who does get in over his head a lot and manages with his wits and fists, survives these encounters. That's the fun of Indiana Jones. Now that he's this older man, I think it's a bad idea to have him still try to behave like he's a 40-year-old professor that is trying to do the same things. He should have a lot more wisdom, a lot more guile, knowing that he's not physically able to do the things he used to do. And we didn't get anything like that in the trailer. Sorry.
Yeah, you should get into trouble
you're
for
fine.
saying there's only 2 sexes.
I also have an issue with them in this. It kind of gets into Crystal Skull, but Crystal Skull at least falls in the category of things that we have been discovered on Earth, right? That's my other thing is like Indiana Jones is at its core is basically this. You have an atheist archaeologist who keeps running into religious artifacts and they're real. Like that's kind of the gimmick, right? And we're kind of falling farther and farther away from that. I feel like with the time travel element and all that kind of stuff.
Is he really defined as an atheist though? I mean, he grew up.
He did. He said it in Raiders of the Lost Ark that he was an atheist at one point. Yes. And that's the whole joke of the whole matter is that he not only finds the Ark of the Covenant, but he ends up finding the Holy Grail in the end. I think his dad even said something about him being an atheist.
I don't recall that because I remember one of the arguments being is that he's talking to the 2 USA agents. He's like, didn't you guys go to Sunday school? And they didn't know. So he had to explain it all to them. I mean, he can still be an atheist and know that knowledge, but I just never really, I can't remember a quote where he says he's an atheist. Of course, now I have to rewatch the 3 movies, which I'm excited to do.
In many ways, the Uncharted games were much better indie than what we're seeing now.
I could be wrong, but I could have swore he said he was in the first film. But anyway, it's been a few years since I've watched Raiders. Like about 2.
If he said he was an atheist, he would lose half the audience in the United States.
All right, I'm probably wrong on that because I'm getting yelled at in the chats.
Maybe it's like the conflating atheist with skeptical. Because like there's
maybe that's what it was. I was getting the whole skeptic thing, and I mixed with atheist. That could be.
Maybe, yeah. Because I mean, as a scientist,
because I know there's that whole part about it, them talking about him not believing in it or whatever. Yeah.
So well, him not believing in like the voodoo, the supernatural. That's different, right? Because religious people will separate supernatural versus divine. Oh man, I want to watch the Raiders again.
Okay. But anyhow, moving on from there, it just, to me, that whole thing was the whole point of it is you're getting to time travel and shit now. That was my whole gist of it is entering time travel is a whole nother fucking can of worms in a series, especially the 4th or 5th movie in. It's like, are you kidding me?
It's another genre. I mean, the fun of Indiana Jones was the spiritual and religious artifacts. And then you're starting to get into science fiction with alien technology and time travel. That it seems like it's outside of the foundational genre.
Exactly.
I just think it's amazing that they got the Millennium Falcon into the trailer. I was really excited about that.
But they still refuse to put Leia and Luke together with Indy.
No. But just being able to, use the Millennium Falcon to time travel in this film.
That would be cool. Yeah. But I think Script makes a very good point in that the ignorance of these writers is showing in that the number of interesting ancient artifacts that exist, from Viking boats to, there's just so much out there that would make great starts to stories, as opposed to suddenly hitting 18 lines of cocaine and going, oh, space creatures, time travel. Like, you don't need to go there. There's no requirement. There's so many things on this in our historical past that would make for interesting MacGuffins. This is just lazy, terrible writing.
Well, Tickle Trunk is making the point I was trying to make better. He goes, Indiana Jones dealt with myth, magic, not sci-fi.
Right.
If they wanted to expand it, go into occult, maybe Greek or Roman mythology, it's safe to use. Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say, because the first and third film were clearly, Christian elements to it, and then the second film having the Thuggy was a different religion. Like, yeah, if you introduce a whole nother religion, fine. And that's what I was saying. Like, if you just had the opening of Crystal Skull as a short film, where just kind of like a little in joke that Area 51 was where the Ark of the Covenant was, brilliant, fine with that. That's all you need to bring aliens into this mess, right? Because then you're right. You're getting, and that's kind of what I think George Lucas didn't quite. That's where I think he was trying to make Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull like this 50s sci-fi B movie, when that's not what Indiana Jones was. And he's actually said this in interviews. And And I think even one of the versions of the script was called like Indiana Jones and the Little Green Men or some shit like that, because it was supposed to sound like one of those 50s sci-fi B movies. And that's why Spielberg was very resistant to do that from the start. And that script leaked online very early on in the early days of the internet. And everybody's like, God, I hope they don't do this. And that's what they ended up doing. But anyhow, yeah, I agree with Mr. Trickle Trunk. That's what I'm trying to say. He was more into the mythological or religious elements. Regardless of what religion it was still was, that was kind of the gimmick.
So, yeah, I mean, you have Relic Hunter, 3 seasons, each one of them. I don't think they ever went to aliens, that I can't remember. But that was her traveling the world and finding various artifacts. And some of them had religious beliefs or just tribal beliefs associated with them. You know, in the early 2000s, a team of writers did that for 80 episodes, and trying to get that for Indiana Jones. And this time on a cinematic level, they've run out of ideas after the first 3 where they.
Well, that's my point. This is just terrible, lazy, unimaginative individuals. On to our next trailer, gentlemen.
Well, we can do a few more super chats since Andre stepped away for a moment. Let's do that. Kathleen Morrison is here and says, have feeling when Indy 5 comes out, hashtag Doomcock was right, will be trending. Might be right. Could very well be. Miguel Farah says, true title, Indiana Jones and the Denial of Indy.
Yep. Traveling down the denial.
Uh-huh. Horseradish Power says, Indiana Jones dial M for murder.
Yeah, murdered Indy.
Yeah, well, we already know.
Oh,
Dark
Indiana
King...
Jones and the Secret of the Nile would be a good story.
See, there you go.
Yeah,
Dark King says, grats on being early for Monday stream. I see what you did there. Mizzy Buddy says, just sending some love. Well, thank you. Says, evil cannot create anything new. They can only corrupt and ruin what good forces have intended or made. J.R.R. Tolkien. Yes, indeed. And then we've got, whoops, I jumped ahead here. Dr. Longdongler, who sent us in a thumbs up. Please hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Fluffy Panda says, hail big time Andre, getting too famous for us peasants. I don't know if he's here still, but
that's why Andre's not here. He's decided not to spend any more time.
He's not dealing with the peasants.
That's right. He's too above us.
He's actually dealing with the children. Olaf Van S says, Midnight's Edge. That's awesome. Well, I'll save this. Let's save these for Andre when he gets back here. But go ahead here to JWT 6577, who's been a member for a month. Thank you so much. And he says, people have said and done worse. Somehow Kanye will come back. You think so? I don't know about that one.
He's probably a couple of beats away from literally jumping into the ocean and becoming the new Aquaman in real life.
I'm a gay fish.
He's got 30 million followers that will not care what he says. Mm-hmm. What's going to happen to him?
You're not totally wrong to a point, I guess, Paul, but I'll tell you, there was some people last night on some of the stuff when he was going off on Elon and stuff on Twitter. There was a lot of people who were like, dude, I like you, or I love you or whatever, but like, this is not the way to, like, they were really turning on him quick. So it'd be really interesting to see how much of a fan base he still has after all of this. I mean, if he seriously needs some help, that's one thing. Here's my take on it, and we weren't going to really get into this too much, but I honestly think he's going to come out of this saying this was all some kind of act or some kind of performance art. That's why he had that fucking thing on his face all day yesterday.
He has baited a certain minority, not just this time, but for an awful long time. There's a lot of people who agree with him. So
most people see him as a complete idiot or a moron, or they think he's crazy. But I think he's gonna. I think
you have to understand there's an audience for idiots and morons.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I get what you're saying, Paul. To a point, he's like Andy Kaufmaning a lot of people. I think is what he's doing. He's kind of playing this role right now. Maybe unintentionally, but to get out of it, that's what he's going to say. Because it's going to hit a wall. Sooner or later, he's going to hit a wall and he's going to realize, fuck, I fucked up too much. And then he's going to play this game off like, oh, I was doing this performance art thing.
Yeah, and he's going to do, I told you, this cabal is going to cancel me.
Yeah.
And he's going to go, see, told you.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no win in this.
No, and then like I said, he's going to try and play it off like it was his plan all along or some shit, because that's the kind of person he is. Otherwise, if he's that insane, he needs help. So
he is nuts.
I don't really want. That's the thing, is I don't know if he's
Now let's go on.
Yeah,
Stop
Chris
talking
Foster says probably a good idea to procure your hard copies of Indiana Jones 1, 2, and 3 while you can. For the mouse makes them vanish too. Well, luckily, I think Paramount owns the distribution on those, so those are not going to go away anytime soon. So they'll milk them for all they can. No, do get your hands on them. They are out in 4K. They look nice. Olaf Van S says Midnight's Edge. Oh, that's the one we're waiting for Andre. Snell's World says Indiana Jones ended with The Last Crusade for me. I totally understand you there at Snell's World. I feel the same way. If Sony does another Spider-Man film, says Waltman, it has to involve Toho's version of Spider-Man. But how's Andre's take on the new Transformer trailer? Well, we're going to get into that, I think.
There's a new Transformer trailer?
Yeah, there was. Matthew W says, did anyone notice they de-aged Indy still moves like he's an 80-year-old man? That can't twist his back. Yeah, Matthew, this is kind of what I was saying too earlier about watching him hobble around, and a few
he's
people
the Barnaby Jones. He's Ebsen playing Barnaby Jones, where he was running after cars. Because I'm really old to remember the Buddy Ebsen TV series, where I think he was late 80s. And they got him as they portrayed him as a spry detective that could run after cars. It was quite funny. Yeah, I feel badly for Harrison Ford, but he's getting the paycheck. He knows what he needs to do. And I think it's a disservice, and they're being disrespectful to him as one of the last bankable stars to treat him this way.
That's what we need, is a crossover of Barnaby and Indiana Jones.
Can
you keep up with the Joneses?
I kind of feel like he's doing it to himself, though, Paul. I mean, he did it to himself in Star Wars. He's doing it to himself in this. I think, he's a willing accomplice in the destruction of this character.
He's getting paid enough to do it, but what choice does he have?
Not doing it.
Yeah, that's.
He doesn't need money.
No, don't know. It's true. That would have been much better if he had said, no, I'm not doing it. But I'm telling you, they certainly, even if you don't need money, when you roll up the bank truck, and then dump all those bills onto your driveway, it's an incentive.
Yeah, and Mad Mardigan brought this point up last night. We were on Comics Division, and I got to agree with him. I mean, this is kind of an issue when you de-age some of these actors, and it just doesn't quite work right. A great example was The Irishman with Robert De Niro. When they were trying to make him younger, he still moves like an 80-year-old man. You have that problem. And that's where you really got to, at least with this, I think that we had been told or read or whatever it was that, Indy's stunt double was in it quite a bit. And all the shots we've seen, half of them were a stunt double with the crap on their face. So we'll see how it turns out in the end. But yeah, that can be an issue. And I think some people are going to comment on that. And that's kind of what, Matt was saying to begin with, Matt Kadish, that stirred up James Mangold to begin with. Y'all remember. But Andre, you've been getting some praise for your retweet. Now that you're back, here's one of them specifically. Olaf Van S says, that was awesome, Andre. I love the review you posted on Ancient Apocalypse. Been watching it. Thanks to your excellent take, Andre.
Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, it was a pleasant surprise to see Graham Hancock himself retweet my review of the series. And again, I'm not saying that he is entirely right in his hypotheses, far from it. I just think that what he is saying merits further research, and we're not getting too much from it from those that are in charge of that. Like, there's bits and pieces and drops here and there, but there's very little concerted effort into unlocking what's really
well.
going on.
And my position, who's an archaeological fan, is that most of these people out there doing archaeology are self-funded in the sense that they go out and get funding themselves. So if Graham wants to prove his hypothesis, and I don't like the way he throws the word theory around because he's using it incorrectly, which gives, insight into just
fair point. Yeah, his hypothesis.
all these people are self-funding somehow, government, whatever, but they're spending
or universities. Typically, it would be university funding.
Universities,
many of them will be on staff for a university. What you generally don't
he
have.
He should get a GoFundMe account. Get the money, go out with a bunch of people, and prove his point. But
maybe do some more LiDAR in the Amazon, as he has been.
Well, isn't part of what he was saying though? Wasn't part of what he was saying is that the fact that people are trying to shut down the conversation is making it difficult for him to get any kind of funding?
No, because
he him personally,
people who believe in what he is doing, like it's just nonsense. What he's saying about the funding thing is crazy. And there's already people like this woman from Holland, Kaylee, who has debunked the series quite well. So, I mean, let him get the funding. He's kind of pulling an Eric von Daniken, as far as I'm concerned, and but a smarter one, more intelligent. There's my concern is not the smart people like Andre, as the flat earthers out there who are going to swallow it hook, line and sinker. I
think the flat earthers, they're still busy being flat earthers. But that's kind of like the issue, because when one tries to shut down something like that without taking it seriously, that's when you really appeal to the flat earthers. It's not Hancock who does it. It's the response to him that's going to get people like that activated, if you get it.
Well, I think people are allowed to disagree with them. So
absolutely.
Let him go prove it and get a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'd be all for it, because, like, for instance, he has said that he has actually said that he's spoken with billionaires and he has petitioned them to fund more extensive LiDAR surveys of the Amazon forest. And we have uncovered what I think that there's like 60 more pyramids that have been uncovered that way, just by doing some precursory LiDAR here and there. If he were to get more funding for it, or he somehow could do more LiDAR in the Amazon, for instance, I'd be all for it.
And myself included. Do the research, come up with the proof. It's as
it is, though, I do think that there are too many similarities and coincidences that one can dismiss them outright. That is my stance, though, which is why I think it merits some more research from elsewhere as well, that have the opportunity, rather than simply shut it down, saying like Zahi Hawass, who is the, I don't know if he no longer is, but he was the gatekeeper of all things.
Yeah, and the man has a massive ego. He should not have even been included.
Unfortunately, he is the gatekeeper there, and he fancies himself. Speaking of Indiana Jones, that idiot Zahi Hawass, he's even gone on record saying that I'm the real Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford is the fake one.
No, the man has a giant ego and has been a gatekeeper for everything that has been related to Egyptology, and he has
God
been
knows how bad he's held the field back.
And he has held things back, and he has been proven wrong half a dozen times. But he does grudgingly incorporate it into his story later on. But no, the man is a very bad example, and should never have been.
Unfortunately, bad example as he may be, he's the gatekeeper for all things Egyptology for the better part of 30 years.
Right. Yeah, that's
so much of the frustration that Hancock has with archaeology in general, I think 2/3 of that is frustration with Zahi Hawass, and justifiably so, because honestly, one of the worst things that has happened is Egypt themselves, gate kept by Saya, was being in charge of Egyptology. Like, we've learned less about Egyptology in the last 30 years than the 300 years before that, when it should have been the other way around.
What can I do?
All I know is that we have this here on screen. Thank you to Grimork for sending me this. I don't know if this is a screenshot from the trailer, or if this is another one of the.
She's got
images.
the dial of coffee grinder.
She does have the dial in her hands. There you go, kids.
But she's not
Coffee
wearing
grinder. Just that's funny you should mention that, because what was it Kathleen Kennedy started out doing?
Getting coffee.
Making coffee for John Milius. Seriously, she started out making coffee for John Milius. And then she saw, Steven Spielberg, that guy's going somewhere, and he needs someone to take notes.
So this is, we're now full circle.
Now we're full circle.
The coffee indie and the coffee grinder of doom.
Here's the problem I think that happened here.
Oh my God, that's what the movie should have been called. Indiana Jones and the Coffee Grinder of Doom. That would have been correct in every single sense of the word.
I think Harrison Ford said, "Fine, I'll do it for a bag of weed," and he thought they said for a flea bag, not a weed bag.
Oh boy, I do like her as an actress, but I mean,
I have not seen her in anything I like. I hated what she did in Solo.
I didn't like Fleabag. I didn't like the show Fleabag.
I've never seen Fleabag.
Okay. You have Tom didn't like her in Solo. Paul, you have seen Fleabag, which is her single biggest claim to fame, other than her marriage, and you didn't like it. So how the hell do you like her?
Because I liked her as an actress in it. I hated the character she was playing.
That was herself.
Yes. Was herself.
Yes. Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, she clearly has charisma. She fills the screen.
She's definitely oozing with something. I don't know what.
Okay, then I'll take that too. I didn't like the character Fleabag. I didn't think. I mean, I think she wrote that. It was
it's based on a one-woman show that she put together.
It was a very unappealing show. It wasn't for me. My wife didn't like it either. We thought she was a hateful character. And wow, really? We're supposed to watch this and enjoy it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's stunning and brave.
So yeah, but she clearly has the ability to fill a screen, at least a small TV screen.
There's no denying her certainly taking up space and presence in a number of proproperties. So someone.
I didn't see her in Solo. What did she do in that?
She's that fucking robot.
Yeah, she's the robot that basically says droid life matters, and it's all about activism. And it's like the SJW robot. That's her.
Clint Howard told me that they encouraged the fuck out of that whole thing with her.
She's the Antifa bot.
She came up with a lot of that crap.
Yeah.
She's the one that comes screaming droid lives matter and that she fucks Lando and shit like that.
Hando.
Yeah.
Hando job.
Back to the Graham Hancock business. Garrick Mobius says, "Hi, Midnight's Edge, and thank you for existing. Well, we try. Everything 2015 and later has fully proved that living in interesting time is truly a curse."
Yeah.
Well, since we came out in 2015, it sounds like we came just at the nick of time.
Maybe it had nothing to do with the Graham thing, but I thought maybe it did because of the year it was mentioning. But anyway, that's what I get for not reading the super chat before I actually read it. Snell's World says, "Did you see Florida is reconsidering stripping Disney?"
I'm not surprised. If you go and check our earlier coverage, you will see that I said this in the very first video that came out after that whole thing. Because, and again, I submit that this is all Chapek's doing, and now it's just Iger coming in, stealing all the glory for what Chapek did. I said right away, I guarantee you there's going to be talks between DeSantis and Chapek, because none of them really wants to go through with this. DeSantis doesn't want to go through with stripping away the Reedy Creek district thing. It's going to be expensive, and it's going to be a bother for Florida. It's going to be much easier just to let it be the way it was. So just wait for them to give it some time, and then they can spin it in a way where both Disney and DeSantis get a political win out of it. DeSantis already got his political win by going after Disney. That was really good up till the election, but now the election is over. So now he has between now and next summer, when it takes effect, to walk it back and find some way to spin it to the media. And I guarantee you, this is something he had already spoken about with Bob Chapek. So that was happening one way or the other. Now it's just Iger that is there. And now, of course, he's going to start leaking the talks that have been between Florida, the Florida authorities, and Disney to make himself look brilliant. But this isn't anything new. This has been months in the works already, that they weren't going to go through with this. I'm working on an update video, and you can rest assured I will replay the clip where I said this is what's going to happen, because that was clear as day the moment it happened. So don't believe that Iger did this. He didn't. He's just coming in and taking the credit. This was in the works the whole time.
Culture, nothing to add there? I'm surprised.
Well, I mean, the district won't be the same. There will be modifications to it. I don't think it's going to return to its original ability. But
there has to, as I said, there has to be some way where everyone gets a political win from it. If it looks like Florida just backed up and went straight back the way it was, Florida doesn't get to win. That's a political loss for DeSantis. That can't be allowed to happen.
Right.
But at the same time, they don't want the full cost of having to do it all on their own, and Disney needs to win here too. So they need to find some way to make it a win-win situation. So something is obviously going to change.
Yeah. Agree.
Well, we'll have to see how that goes. And then while you were away, Andre, we did one super chat where they were asking about the Transformers trailer. So did you want to talk about that real quick before we move into other things?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about the Transformers trailers. Now we have to get into the Guardians trailer before we start losing panelists here.
That's right. Yesterday there was a new trailer from outer space. Came robots that look like animals. There's more Transformers coming. What did you think?
Well, first of all, damn, that sounded like Peter Cullen. I'm impressed. That aside, yeah, I think the trailer looks surprisingly good. I was never into Beast Wars myself. I thought that the moment you left G1 behind, like I was okay with them going into space in the post-Transformers the movie with the with those things with the heads and everything. I was okay with that. But the insect people and the animal stuff, I was way over that. But I think this movie looks cool. I mean, it has RC and everything. That was nice. And in the aftermath of Bumblebee, which I maintain is the single best movie in the Transformers franchise, as long as that idiot producer, what's his name again?
Dino Bonaventura or whatever his name is.
That one. That idiot, because he was like, "Oh, I'm very concerned about all the story in Bumblebee. We need to go back to the brain dead action, which this franchise is built on." He basically said that, or those exact words. But if they're able to keep what was good about Bumblebee, I'm looking forward to this. If not, then deserves to fail. So yeah, that's my
it looks kind of like a hybrid to me of the what they did with the Bumblebee mixed with the Bay stuff. So I wonder if that's kind of what we're going to get out on the other end of this. Maybe. What do you think, Culture?
I was surprised at just how much I'm now looking forward to this film. I thought the trailer did what it needed to do. I like the characters in here. I was pleasantly surprised to see RC. There's a lot of cool stuff, I think, in here. The only thing that they still screw up that bothers me is scale.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I mean, I everything looks like it's going to be good to me, and that's weird for me to say about a Transformers movie. So,
I mean, as long as I can tell who's who, that's my main main gripe, aside from the first 4 or 5 Transformers movies all being the same plot, was that I could never tell who was who outside of Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Paul,
I'm
stepped away.
watching.
Oh, there
I'm
he is.
watching the trailer.
Okay, well, we'll jump to script and then we'll come back to you. Script, what did you think?
I thought it was all right. I agree with culture on the scale, not just for the regular Transformers, but also for the Maximals who play the Beasts, because the interesting part of Beast Wars, or Beasties as it was titled up in Canada, is that that entire series ends up being a war to preserve the G1 franchise, essentially. They have to basically the namesake of Megatron went back in time to Earth to try and basically destroy the Autobots before the Great War from G1 happened, and that ends up being the reveal. And it's the Maximals that have to stop it, and they disguise themselves as animals that are the right scale and size as animals. But when we get that one shot of them, we've got this 20-foot or at least 20-foot Optimus Primal ape that looks more like a robot with an ape silhouette than actually a disguised ape gorilla. Like,
yeah,
I think they kind of missed the point of what the Beasties and Beast Wars is that they're supposed to be robots in disguise, and a robotic ape is not really a disguise.
In other words, they already botched it.
In that part, yeah. I mean, again,
we are
I have no
robots
faith
in
in these.
disguise. We're in disguise all over your face.
Right. I think this entire franchise has been botched from the beginning, unfortunately.
What?
I didn't like the. I know. I think it should have taken place in 1984 and had the arc and actually been a far more fun, streamlined adaptation of that original season. It could have been done. I remember when I was interning at Paramount, and they were talking about those things in various offices. They had people that volunteered stop motion animation, CGI models, and cartoon versions of how they would pitch the process, and they were all way better than what we got with Michael Bay. That's just my opinion, but yeah.
Megan Fox.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Megan Fox.
Like I said, the best I think we can hope for is that we get more of Bumblebee and less of Bayformers. I think is the most we can hope for.
Bumblebee, for those that haven't seen it, I certainly thought it was really, really good. That was the one that returned to the more boxy designs of the original, which I'm very happy to see they have kept here. Optimus Prime looked the same as he did in Bumblebee, meaning he looked better than ever.
I think we have the toys to thank for that more than Bumblebee, though. And my reason for that is when they released just recently, they've done a bunch of the anniversary toy re-releases of the originals, and they've been just flying off the shelves, I guess. So
I think that's possible.
That's probably one of the reasons. Yeah, sorry.
That the toys of original designs they sell off they fly off the shelves, whereas toys based on the likeness of the Bay designs collect dust.
Yeah. Well, you can't tell which one's which.
Well, that's
I agree. They all look the same, and that was my issue with the fighting scenes. Even in the even in the original movie, which was good, I don't see what the hell is happening and who's fighting who. They all look the same.
Bay
that was my biggest gripe.
Also. Actually, he came back and said he made a hash out of it. Yeah, the first movie was absolutely fine, thoroughly enjoyable, and then the other movies, because I'm a sucker for all this mech stuff. I watched it and enjoyed it for what it was, but I didn't know during the fight scenes who was fighting whom.
Exactly. No one did.
He was really my second favorite of the Transformers after the first one. And the reason I like Transformers was, Megan Fox was fun in that, but just it was really kind of an adult version of Transformers, and I just enjoyed it. I thought he did a really good job of it. But Bumblebee by far has been the best version so far. And in the trailer, it looks like Optimus Prime looks like the original toy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is we know Bay's back in a part of this. Of course, I think wasn't he still a producer on Bumblebee
He owns,
as well?
In credit only.
That's why I'm
name
not
only.
sure on this one. Too. I mean, I see some Bayisms in the trailer, but I feel more of the Bumblebee kind of vibe from it. So
Yeah.
maybe they learned their lesson there. Let's hope.
Bumblebee's in there. Listen, I heard Bay speak on it and said he's fucked up 2 and 3. He made the characters unrecognizable, and
Well,
especially during the fight scenes. I
Wait,
heard.
so he said he fucked up 2 and 3. What about 4 and 5? Did he admit that he
I was gonna
fucked
say
up
4
those
and
two?
5 were
Because
the
he
worst
did.
of the bunch.
I didn't think they were the. I mean, I could see the fight scenes were less.
It's a fucking Transformer.
I didn't mind 4 and 5.
I like Marky Mark, and he couldn't even save those fucking movies for me.
I'm a mech nut, so
that I'll give you. Like me growing up, like that's the other thing, and I said this last night. Like, don't take my opinion on Transformers for shit, because growing up, Transformers were never my thing. For me, it was like He-Man, then Ghostbusters, and Ninja Turtles. Transformers were just the show that was on in between all that shit.
I'm a huge mech anime fan, so
yeah, that explains. Yeah, so that'll help.
So that's anything that's mech.
The Dinobots were about the only thing that got me into it, but yeah, I get the mech thing.
Pacific Rim, I'm all there.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. So
I'm sorry, I'm the wrong person to critique it.
No. Well, actually, no. That makes you, because considering that's the roots for Transformers, I think you actually have a better take on it than I would.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like, I grew up a fan of the original G1, but still, it doesn't matter because you're coming from it from the only thing that it does that you're coming from the mech perspective, that makes you interested in the genre.
Yes,
and since you have the interest, then that's when your interest in film entertainment and experience as a student network executive kicks in. That makes you the perfect person to review it.
I'm a MechWorks executive.
Yeah, there you go. That makes you perfect. And your review is going to be
down here
as good and as valuable, if not more so, than anyone else of us.
But no, we also, before we get back into Super Chats, because you guys have been infinitely patient, and we do have quite a few to get through, and we're going to be losing Script Doctor very soon here, but we want to get to another topic this morning. We had another, and Paul, not too long after that, we had another trailer. It just rained and poured yesterday. Of course, we're getting to the holiday season, so that's why we're getting all these trailers that are going to be on Avatar, most likely. But the other trailer that dropped yesterday that seemed to take people by surprise, completely unexpectedly, was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Because we just got the Christmas special, so I wasn't expecting a trailer already for the third film.
Neither.
But of course, it didn't dawn on me that the movie's coming already this May. So let's start with you, Paul.
Sure.
What was your reaction to this trailer?
I loved it. I thought it was full on gun. He was able to even get you emotionally involved in 2 CGI, a raccoon and an otter hugging. It had more emotional value than the Indy 5. And a CGI animals had more emotional quotient than Indy 5's trailer. So that's all you have to say about it. I thought it was great. And Chris Pratt really steps into the role here. His tone, his intonation, his delivery is fantastic. And of course, Nebula's in it, and she's my favorite.
All right. Script?
I found it all right. It's my only real criticism is that Adam Strange isn't gold enough. Like that, and that's a good thing to kind of say, I guess, in light of everything else that's in the trailer. Yeah.
I can see what you're saying, and and this is where culture comes in, because Nick showed us a picture of Adam last night from his comic book look. I'm like, yeah, I can see what you're saying. You should have somebody more like Sam Jones circa 1980 playing this role, not
like Will Poulter was always a weird choice for me.
So culture, I know that was one of your big sticking points of the trailer. So have at it, my friend.
I saw it again. You know, I've watched it a couple more times. I don't. I really don't like the choice for Adam Warlock. I don't think he looks right. He's also much smaller than he is represented in the books. I mean, I kind of reached the it's about time moment, because I'm like, they've been trying to introduce and hint at this character for the better part of like 12 films or something. I mean, it's just been a long time coming. You know, I just hope they don't screw it up as far as the rest of it goes. And I know a lot of people were saying, but their uniforms are comic accurate. I'm like, they look like potato sack, like we're getting rose Tico'd like all over the guys right now. So nothing fits right. Everybody looks heavy. I mean, they look like they've all put on weight, especially in their face. It's just the face weight. I mean, I have a lot of criticisms. So, I just want it to be good. I think Paul's 100% right. I think that this looks like it's more real, and it feels more real than the Indiana Jones film does. I think it is. That's a great way to look at it. There's a juxtaposition there. But I like the idea. I like the idea that you'll get to say goodbye to some of these characters, but I don't like the fact that they are killing off some of these characters at the same time. So we'll see. I just hope it's good. It is going to feel. You're going to feel this movie. That's probably the right way to say it. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. And I don't say that about Marvel anymore. So.
It's not Marvel. It's Gunn.
That's true.
That's exactly right. I also look immensely forward to this movie, not because it's Marvel. Marvel is fast becoming the point where it's dead to me. And that's very hard for me to say, because growing up, Marvel was my jam. The MCU, for up until very recently, was the biggest thing happening in movies for me. Like, I couldn't believe it. I pinched myself for every new MCU movie. Like, this was the movie of my dreams. These were the movies I dreamt of growing up but never got. Now they're here, and now they're all gone again. I look greatly forward to this movie, but only because of James Gunn. James Gunn I have faith in. Marvel, not so much. My only worry is that the movie's going to be like too heartbreaking and sad when we probably lose some of these characters. And on the topic of Nebula, Paul, I know exactly what you're saying, and I hope that she's going to be fully embraced as part of the family in this movie. I really hope so, and I think that James Gunn has to be setting that up, because I'm sure you noticed, as I did in the Christmas special towards the end there, when Peter gets his Christmas moment and he embraces all of the Guardians, and then there's Nebula on the outside, and she kind of like wants to be part of the group embrace, but she isn't. Pulls back. There's no way that was not deliberate, and hopefully that'll be played off here.
That's a Nebula's character too.
Yeah. But with them fully embracing her, like, you are part of this family. Like, that needs to happen in this movie.
Oh yeah, I'm so this felt like a Big Mac and a milkshake yesterday. I needed it so badly. It was like, oh my God, after watching the Indiana Jones trailer, I'm like, this is Euphoria, Nirvana. I don't care what culture says. I love every little bit and piece of this. Maybe Adam Morlock is not right, but I'm not, real familiar with the character. So I'm willing to let that go, but I will also, entertain anybody's complaints about the character, because I understand, there are fans of them. But as far as the rest of this goes, this trailer, actually it's a teaser, because Script and I got in a little petty, funny squabble about teasers and trailers yesterday, just because of the terminology. Let's remember, this is a teaser, and we got more feels out of this teaser than we did any of the other teasers we had yesterday. I laughed, I nearly cried, and I'm ready to kiss $15 goodbye, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that's it for me. This is the end of the line. Full disclosure, I'm very biased. The first 2 Guardians films are my two of my favorite Marvel films. And this is it for me. This is going to be my final dance with Marvel, I guess, unless they pull something out of Spider-Man's ass.
And Deadpool. The 2 best.
Yeah, I almost don't even count that in the MCU, though. That's the thing.
Well, if they own it, so.
They do. But I almost kind of considered it an also Rand kind of thing in a weird way. But regardless, my point is, as far as like actual emotionally being involved, this is it for me. Yeah. These are the characters I still give a shit about. They're the only ones who are really left. Seeing what we see, knowing that we're probably going to lose at least Rocket and Drax, probably, because chances are, James Gunn's not coming back. So most of these characters are probably not coming back.
Yeah, because the actors aren't coming back with
Culture's probably right about that.
Speaking of dropping out,
I know we got to lose some people.
Leaving us, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it tight there, but yes, Script, go ahead and we got one. Actually, we got one super chat that needs to be read before he does leave.
Sure.
The one, the only, Rod Thunderheart sends in 20 Canadian dollars. It says, "Hail Andre, Tom, Script, and Paul. Curious if any of you are fans of Grand Tour. Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May were fired from BBC Top Gear, and Amazon picked them up. Andre, they went from Norway to Finland. So, Script, before you head out."
I've heard of this. I haven't seen it. I look forward to doing so, but I have not seen it yet. They have been in Norway a number of times with Top Gear. So hopefully this will be cool as well. So yeah, I look forward to seeing it.
It took them a year for Grand Tour to kind of settle into what they wanted it to be, but then it became entertaining again. But yeah, the first year of Grand Tour on Amazon wasn't so good, but my son loves it and he's a mechanic, and so it's something that we enjoy together.
Yeah, I'm not much of a car guy in that sense. My cousin is. He's really into cars. Not so much. So sadly, I have not taken any interest. I'm aware of Top Gear and what those guys were doing, but no, just doesn't pique my interest. Unless you're getting me like a Ford turbine or a Chrysler turbine from the 1950s and 60s, I'm not interested.
They had some very funny adventures.
I just want a car that can run on tequila. Really, that's basically it. That's the only one I know of that actually does. So, with that, thank you so much for having me on today, guys. I have to be off, but it was wonderful chatting with you and reading everybody in the chat. So, have a wonderful weekend. If I don't see you, thanks.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be doing our A-rated B movies, B-rated A movies this weekend. So we'll see you there. Yeah. Hopefully on Mead.
Bye, Scripty.
Bye, Paul. Bye, everybody.
Hi, Script.
That reminds me, Paul, I got to ask you about that. I totally blanked that out.
Oh, and I need to go too.
And so now that you're going to be leaving, we'll answer this one, and then we'll go into the rest of your super chats. Are you a fan of Grand Tour?
This is funny. So in Paul, I'd rather answer a porcupine than watch Indiana Jones and the dial-up modem of destiny.
This is Michael Beacom.
I like that. Yes. Watch Indiana Jones on the dial-up modem of destiny. There we go. That's the that's right. That's fantastic. So Answer a Porcupine is actually a sketch in the Frantics Frantics 4 on the Floor show, where I answer a porcupine and then I get covered in bandages. It's hilarious. You should have been there.
All right. Well, thank you, Michael, for that. We appreciate it. Luca Rocks has one for you, Paul. It says, do you see anything to make you think Iger's legacy will be anything more than to a boot to the head?
Another
is great, by the way.
Well, we talked about this earlier. We're waiting for the tea leaves to drop. We haven't seen anything, right, Andre? I mean, so far, he's been keeping his cards pretty tight to his chest. Oh, Andre's not.
Yeah, I think Andre stepped away for a minute.
That's right.
Iger,
that's it for specific ones. So yeah, I have no idea. We haven't seen any grand design yet from him.
Other than he's not going to stop
one,
the woke.
I don't know. So I think it's to his benefit to just stay low. and not make any global pronouncements that he's going to get caught on.
Yeah. So, Paul, do you have any videos coming up before you head out you want to plug?
I'm editing right now my combo review of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer and the Indy 5 trailer together, because I thought it's useful to make a comparison between the two of them, as we have done.
Compare and contrast.
So every new idea that you guys have mentioned, I'm incorporating it and borrowing.
Steal it all
into my video. No, I've already recorded
it all.
So I will talk to you later, gentlemen.
We love you, Paul. Take care of yourself.
Yep. Well, talk to you later. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yes. Actually, I was going to ask you about the A-rated B movie thing this weekend.
Well,
so
I mean, invite me to whatever you want to.
Well, here's the thing: we've already let it out, the cat out the bag. We're doing Christmas Story. But we're also gonna talk Christmas Story, but we're also gonna talk about the new one that just came out, the sequel with Peter Billingsley.
Right, which I haven't seen.
Okay, so if you haven't seen it and you don't get a chance to see it by tomorrow, then don't worry about it. But yeah,
what we need to do is contrast that new Violent Santa movie with the original Christmas Story and do a comparison.
That or maybe Home Alone.
Yes. Actually, Latino Slant liked the new.
I've heard it's pretty good.
I didn't like the trailer. So there's an example where I thought the trailer was horrible.
It may not be your kind of movie, though, too. That looks like a very hardcore kind of.
No, the trailer wasn't logical. They was trying to be, that Bruce Willis Christmas movie.
Right. The Die Hard with Santa. Yeah.
Die Hard, but in a huge freaking house. I'm thinking, well, it's easier to get out of a house than it is a monstrous multi-story building with security. And plus, he's showing that he's got magic sometimes. And then when it's inconvenient to have the magic, it doesn't appear. So I thought, okay, that's a bit suspect. So, but
hopefully there's explanations for it. Who knows?
I'm sure there are. Anyway,
with that,
culture,
you take care of yourself.
Andre, bye. I love you.
See you, sir.
Have a great day. Love you, sir.
I love you all.
Take care. The Mexican Iron Man's in the house, and he says, "My analysis of the trailer is Doomcock was right." Thank you, Mikey. We got Tennille who says it's raining here in LA. Is it raining men?
Hallelujah.
In response to fuck awful Indy 5 trailer. I like how you spelt that there. The Hollywood gods are displeased.
Yeah. Well, so am I.
They are indeed. And then we have Mecha J who says Cocaine Bear 2 Escape from Rehab. You know the one I'm looking forward to, Mecha J, is Cocaine Bear versus Crack Panda.
That might be fun, right? But
Crack Panda just keeps falling out of things.
Well, but the question is, are they both going to have nunchuck?
Well, of course.
Okay, well then there you go. I
still think at least one or two nunchucking scenes.
I still think Cocaine T-Rex might be even more intriguing.
There is a Cocaine T-Rex already. Haven't you seen that meme?
I want more.
And bass player 2011 Iffy says there are only 3 indie films. That's right.
True.
Elf has been a member for 3 months at the midnight level. Thank you for that, Elf. Mr. Tickle Trunk says trailer feels 10 times less indie than Crystal Skull. That's a problem. One man says, morning gang, I'm starting to fear that there's no new ideas in Hollywood. What new IPs have been created in the last 5 years with any lasting appeal? None, really, one man. Well, none that we.
5 years is too tight a window. Because I mean, John Wick would be one that has pretty broad appeal.
That's the newest one, otherwise, though.
Yeah, it's a little farther than 5 years out. I mean, Kingsman, I thought was gonna head down a proper road, but the last film just kind of left a lot of people unsatisfied. Which was the prequel.
How long has The Conjuring been around for? I know it's been
a long time.
Okay, so it's been a little longer than 10 years. I guess you could consider the Knives Out franchise to a point, but
but I mean that's hit and miss with people, especially.
Yeah, it's still not technically anything you can expand upon, really.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a neat, link the mysteries together with this detective guy, but it's essentially like Perot. I cannot say that name right, but that kind of an idea.
Yeah.
So.
And then Camelbot Killer says, is Indy 5 the movie that Chapek was mad at KK DOA? The rumor going around was there was a bit of a tiffle over, is that a word, tiffle? Over the film and how it was reacted to.
I think you invented a word. I think it was tiff and tizzy. You kind of combined them and changed the Z's to F or something. Tiffle?
I don't know. Fuck it. Bucky Cat says there's only 3 Star Wars movies, 2 Alien movies, 2 Terminator movies, and 3 indie movies. Bucky Cat's doing some math. So whoever says cats can't do math, they're liars.
They are.
Fixie Clary is here and says, and they only did that famous gun versus sword scene because Ford was sick. That's correct at the time, and he couldn't do anything physical. Yeah, he had the flu or something like that. If I can't remember what it was, real bad
stomach flu.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be some big sword fight. They even trained for it. He's like, "What if I just shoot the guy?" Steven's like,
it was really well done.
One of the greatest scenes in cinema history. Joel Rees is here. Joel Rise, sorry, sends in €2 and says Indiana Jones 5 will still make $800 million. That's sad. You think so? I think word of mouth is going to have a lot to do with that. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, everybody's like the runs. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it had something to do with the runs more than it did.
Yeah, a bit of the stomach flu. I think other people are saying food poisoning, but it was definitely
I was gonna say I think it had more to do with him having to get to the
southern area problems. Yes.
Alex says, Tom, love your passion, but please stop talking over the panelists. It makes it hard to listen to the effects and cadence of the conversation. Well, I get it. I never get to finish a point either, Alec. And thank you for the super chat. And then Tommy Reviews says, I'm 29 and grew up on indie films. As a kid and loved them, I saw Indy 4 back and even liked it due to knowing the Crystal Skulls. Indy 5 is going to make Indy 4 a masterpiece.
Probably.
This is what I think a lot of people were afraid of.
Yeah. It's not it. I'm worried. Again, I'm worried that it will create so much detachment from that franchise that it'll fizzle. Even with their attempts to create a Disney Plus series around, an Indiana Jones of some sort. I think that's going to be met with indifference. In fact, Disney's driving the indifference bus for everybody right now, and they're doing it remarkably quickly. So, not good.
Yeah. And then we've got, let's see here, Tanner Rue. I'm saying that right? Tanner Rue with $9.99 and says, let's all give a standing ovation to Harrison Ford and Warwick Davis for taking a paycheck for character suicide.
Wow.
A little crying shame. I agree with you. Keep up the good work, gentlemen. Yeah.
Well stated, my friend. Well done.
Stated indeed. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says, when will everyone finally acknowledge the agenda is malicious? It's going to be 10 years minimum before Disney is cleansed. Malicious writing is implied. Well, Pinochet, we were on a trajectory. This whole thing with Bob Iger coming back really was a kind of a bit of a.
It's a blow.
Yeah, as I said, it's a losing battle as far as like the woke business goes, but the war is far from over. This is definitely a reactionary move. So yes, you were right that it's going to take a while for Disney, but as I've said before, Disney and Amazon are going to be the last ones to finally cleanse themselves of this crap. But once they start seeing Warner and Universal and Sony and others start making money and Netflix starts doing better from avoiding, dividing the fan bases, I think that they'll have to follow suit, which is funny because for the last God knows how many years it used to be, well, what is Disney doing? How is Disney doing it? What is Disney doing? And the rest of Hollywood would follow along. I think now this is going to be the first time that Disney's going to realize they're going to be following. And it's going to be,
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead on.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head perfectly. They used to be the leaders, but only for a limited time. Many forget that if we go back to before them getting Marvel, they were a bomb factory. They had one high-profile, expensive bomb after the other. They were kind of like the laughing stock of the industry, weren't they? Then they got Marvel. They got the success of that. Then everything changed. It was only then that Disney kind of like became infallible. But Disney weren't infallible. It was Marvel that was infallible. Take that away, as it has been taken away, then Disney has kind of been something of a screw-up the whole time. And now they're back to being a screw-up. And I think it's not really going to change until you have all of the other investors who actually do want to make some money and make some dividends, it's going to be pressure from them that's going to make the difference. And because you have investors like BlackRock and what you have not, they're going to be the last ones to make the change. So it'll go from market leader to market follower.
A big difference this time out for Bob, though, that he's going to notice than the last time is he's already been getting the woke questions right off the bat. And he's said that we can't lose that. So he's clearly doubling down on the bullshit. We knew this from the start. This is what we were trying to tell people. Anybody who's trying to feed you full of this nonsense that Chapek was trying to make the company woke and Iger's going to save it is gaslighting you.
Yeah, the opposite is true.
Yes, because in this case, this is what he was going to do. And this is what it is. It's a reactionary measure. People that were going to lose their positions of power weren't going to allow that to happen. And Daddy Iger was the guy that they saw is who was going to save them. And some of these people are going to get stabbed in the back. I can see it now. They're going to realize that this is the way business works. It's not personal, it's business. And it's going to happen at some point, but they're not going to be able to make a big a stink about it as they could have with Chapek. That's the only beauty that's going to come out of this. But Iger's going to have to be decisive and do it quick. Because otherwise he's going to get ate alive with everybody else. I have zero confidence in Iger. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make excuses or stick up for him. I'm just saying what he has to do. He's not going to do it.
No, he put too many of these people in too high a position from the beginning, and then he infected the organization with DEI and an HR department that is essentially at war with anybody who's not on board with the program. So
that's the problem right there. See, here's the thing. This would actually be a very good strategic move if Iger was on board with the idea that, we have to get away from this crap. And they needed somebody who the rest of the business who was going to get behind. That'd have been a completely different scenario. If they were like, if there was a situation, and let me give you a complete fake scenario. But this would be ideally the way I would do this. If I was running this company and I would see why Bob Iger would be chosen to do this, but this is not what they're doing, is if they sat down with the board and Chapek's like, I've got no support from anybody in the company, in Hollywood, anywhere. And they were like, you're right, but we agree with what you're doing. So we need somebody who's going to be able to do it without them coming after them, Bob Iger. And if it was about the money talking, that would be this corporate move, but that's not what this is, unfortunately. And I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with me on that part, but I mean, I know you know what I mean with the whole idea of this could work if it was for that reason. Because the industry sees Bob Iger as somebody that they can get behind, right? And they trust.
They used to, at least.
Yeah.
But then he made it clear that he is going to, he undid Chapek's putting the leash on the creatives, which was a big freaking mistake, and that alone is going to kill any chance of recovery Disney has. But he is going to continue all the other measures. He says that he's going to continue the path of making, well, no, he doesn't say it's going to continue. He says that he has some radical new idea. He has a brand new radical idea that no one has thought about before Bob Iger. But the market has spoken. And so now Bob Iger, the revolutionary visionary, has decided that he's going to take Disney back to politically neutral. And of course, being where Bob Iger is, him taking Disney back to politically neutral means that he is going to take it slightly less extreme activist, enough that he considers it neutral. Everyone else is still going to consider it pretty activist.
And my point was, though,
carry on.
I was to say, if he was actually doing it, that was my point. That was my whole point. That would be a different story. But what he is doing is he's changing the definition. He's moving the goalposts. Because if you noticed in that response, he instead of actually answering, culture knows what I'm talking about. He gave the most political answer I've heard in a long time about how what he and others consider political and what certain people consider political and what others don't. And basically dancing around the idea, trying to say that, oh, this woke stuff, that's not political.
Yeah.
We're going to get out of the politics, but that's not political. That's kind of the way he was wording this shit.
How he changes it. So he's not going to change that then. He's basically doubling
That's
down
what I'm
on
saying.
that, yeah.
So like if you were actually in a position where Bob was on board with the idea that we need to get a fucking way from this shit, it would be the most strategic move I've ever seen in history because of the idea that Chapek is not the guy. We've known that from the start. He's never going to get the respect ever. He was never going to get it. Never. Nobody was ever going to get behind him as far as Hollywood or Disney inside the studio itself. Bob, on the other hand, is somebody that could. He could lead people like a Pied Piper down the road of this guile of we're doing what's best for the company and trust Daddy Iger and still do exactly what Chapek was doing. But that's not what's going on here. He's come in to move the goalpost. He's come in to say, oh yeah, the company's going less political, but we don't consider that shit political. That's almost exactly what he fucking said in his response. And I'm like, you sly motherfucker, you.
Well, it's just him being slimy, and he's always been a political animal. It's one of the reasons
Absolutely.
It's one of the reasons he was able to, weasel his way or snake his way from the weatherman position that he had to, all the way up through ABC and eventually to Disney. So, yeah.
But yeah, Culture, I don't know how much time you have left.
Yeah,
here.
I need to excuse myself, but I wasn't going to miss out on, talking about Disney and Iger. Yeah, Iger does.
Well, while you're here, let's grab one more because you can talk a little bit about this. Stargate 404 says, what do you guys make of the news about the Rock of a Dark Shade limiting withdrawals after Disney and after the FTX fiasco? Cameron's theory confirmed. Now, yeah. So, what do you think of that? Before
it isn't surprising to me. I mean, again, a lot of money, and I think Andre and other people that would have any connections in the financial industries would have probably similar conversations around this. It's all digital. The money doesn't physically exist anywhere. It's bank deposits on hand are not anywhere close to representative of the amount of money that they're supposed to represent. So when you go to the bank, you're being limited in your withdrawals, etc. So it doesn't surprise me that that particular company and others are hurting. They're hurting for a lot of reasons. China would be thrown into amongst that mix, but it also wouldn't surprise me about the FTX thing because you're looking at multiple billions of dollars, tens of billions potentially of dollars that just vaporized.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm going to say that this alone does not confirm Cameron's theory, but it does add weight to it. This is in support of Cameron's theory, but it doesn't confirm it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even venture a guess on Cameron's theory without significantly more information. I think we're starting to see these shades of the cover up from the outside closing in, kind of circling the wagons per se, and then drawing in tighter.
Are you saying the wall closing in?
Well, and what's really funny is that Bankman-Fried kid. Actually got clapped, got an ovation of sorts at the what do you call it, the Deal Book conference that is held by I think it's the Times, and it was hosted by that Sorkin dude. They had the Bankman-Fried kid there saying he didn't intend or mean to defraud anybody, and so on and so forth. It's an interesting interview, and again, he got. I
didn't mean to take all your money, just most of it.
He got a nice ovation from the crowd. I'm like, you flipping maroons. But anyway, I wish I could stick around, but I have things to take care of. Now you also have a stream to take care of later. So I do appreciate the time you gentlemen allow me to spend with you on your channel. And
I also have to congratulate you for putting out so many awesome videos this last week. Everyone, do head on over to Culture Casino. I'm going to be tweeting some of your videos because they serve a bigger audience, because they are great videos with some amazing analysis and insight there. So everyone, go check out Culture Casino. And if you haven't subscribed to him already, why? Go to do so now.
Well, thank you for that. I do appreciate it, Andre. But stay here while they finish the show, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, and then after we finish, then you go to Culture Casino.
All right. Thank you so much, Andre, Tom. Again, I hope you gentlemen have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you bright and early on Monday. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
All
Looking forward to it.
See you later, guys.
Take care.
But don't go anywhere, because we do have quite a few super chats to go through here, guys. So don't worry, we're not going to leave any behind. We got Joa Trash FX who says, "Hi, gang, longtime follower, never used Twitter, but started to protest the rumors. If there's 1% chance, or 0.1% chance, sorry, we can stop bad endings, it's worth it. I don't know I think you may be referring to Indiana Jones.
Probably. And in terms of the bad endings, I don't think there's anything we can do to stop it. But you know what we can do? We can teach Disney that this was the wrong way to do. Should have listened to JPEG the whole way around by not supporting it with our money. That's honestly the most we can hope for at this point. To be completely honest, because now with Iger back in charge, and you all heard what Tom just said about them moving the goalposts, they're not going to change what Kathleen Kennedy wants to do.
And we got John Evan Bear, who says it's funny that a lot of comments in the Indy 5 trailer said that this movie be the one to get them back into theaters. LOL. Really? Considering they turned off the like-dislike ratio pretty fucking quick, that's surprising, unless they were deleting comments too, I wonder.
Oh, I'm sure they must have been curating the comment section there pretty badly. I'd be surprised.
Because I think it was within a matter of like half hour to 45 minutes, they turned off the like-dislike ratio, so you couldn't vote on it anymore. They didn't do that to the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer.
Oh, would be no need. People love the Guardians of the Galaxy. They love what James Gunn is doing. They have faith in James Gunn. They don't have faith in Lucasfilm. That's a key difference.
Then Ben Parker says, if I had the money, I'd try to have Tom sing that via Super Chat. A man can dream. Well, Ben, we appreciate the support. You can hit that like button. It's free. We always try to do our best, though, to pay attention to everything, though, not just the Super Chats. But we do have quite a few from people who have been patiently waiting, so we're going to get back into them rightly here. And we've got Jeff C. here, who says the Indy 5 trailer has made my childhood go. What is that? You do. Go ahead, Andre. That's your word.
Griftefyll. Yeah. The Indy 5 trailer has made my childhood go griftefyll, which means drunk in the ditch. Time for Santa Andre to send Thomas Krampus to Lucasfilm. Yeah, I'd be all for that. And I have to say, I am flattered and honored that you that you remember the term griftefyll, which is a proud Norwegian tradition, and it's literally just that. You get so drunk that you pass out, preferably in a ditch.
And speaking of Krampus, everybody's always talking about tradition and classic Christmas and all that kind of business. You go around and you throw one kid in a sack as Krampus and everybody comes after you. You know that? It's just bullshit. Anyway, no. That would not work out too well for me. I don't think I could be Krampus. I think they'd throw me in and lock away the key real quick. Throw me in the jails. Bass player 2011 if he says, does this dial need a 1.21 gigawatts to work? Maybe.
It really should.
Yeah. Where's the flux capacitor though? That's a good question.
They made it portable.
Portable. Stian Mondstad, am I saying that right, Andre? Because this is one of your
fellow countryman of mine. Yes. Countryman of mine.
Yeah. And Stian, is that how you say it?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Stian?
Let's
see here what Stian sent a thumbs up. So please hit that thumbs up if you have not already. We appreciate that. Wildman Beyond says, bring back Sean Patrick Flannery as the young, older Indiana Jones. That's kind of an oxymoron. I've heard some people say that. I've not seen him lately. I don't know how he looks. But again, I'm not against this idea at this point of just recasting the role. I mean, it's worked for Bond for how many years now? 50 some years. So
I have an even better idea.
Or 60 some years.
Just retire the character altogether.
Or that.
Something else. That would have probably been the absolute best choice here. And just acknowledge that there are 3 Indiana Jones movies. It's a trilogy. And if you want more than that, there's a TV series that Bob Iger produced and George Lucas made. It's well worth checking out. And with that, you consider Indiana Jones retired, and then you make some other character. Like, for instance, you could do proper Uncharted, which kind of like botched it. Hell, do an adult reboot of Dora the Explorer, do Mysterious Cities of Gold. There's so many other things that you can do instead of going back to the well and revisiting Indiana Jones several times. His story has been told. There's no more there. Indiana Jones is not a character from books or from serials or something where only so many adventures have been adapted. No, the story is done. It's been told.
Well, there is an adult version of Dora the Explorer, but she does a completely different kind of exploring, if you know what I mean.
That may... Yeah, you're probably right. That may have been a bad example.
She explores her own caves, if you know what I mean.
That's something that could have had potential. I'll do another Tomb Raider reboot then. And Mysterious Cities of Gold, I stand by that one. And again, do a better Uncharted. All of those could work.
Yeah, no, you got Tomb Raider, you've got Uncharted. You're right, Andre. I'm not going to disagree with you there either. That's a good point. Then we got Ben Mudek, if I'm saying that right, who says, those who follow the topic know that supernatural phenomenon and UFO aliens are closely related to Crystal Skull's works, in my opinion. Yes, they are. And that's one of the reasons why I was just not too keen on them being involved in the first fucking place.
You know which crystal skulls I wouldn't mind? Those crystal skulls filled with vodka from the Ghostbusters guy.
Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind.
I've never tried that stuff.
Skulls. Yeah.
It's expensive. I don't know how good it is. It's like $100 a bottle or something like that. Joey says, why does no one refer to the young Indiana Jones, Sean Patrick Flannery, as older Indy? He looks great today for his age. He's a terrific actor. Well, I'll have to check him out. I haven't seen what he looks like lately. So,
well, someone must do, because that's.
Is he still working? He may be. Oh, here we go. We've got he's in The Boys, I guess.
There you go.
Here, I got a picture here. I'll bring up on the screen. Hang on. I think I'd still go with somebody else. No offense to Sean. I mean, yeah, he just doesn't look quite he looks all right. Nothing wrong with him. But as far as taking over for Indy, I don't know. I'd have to see him in action. If
Harrison Ford is beat up, bloody, and bruised, he could do that, I guess. Be like the stunt double.
I don't know. He looks too much like young Russell Crowe to me.
Yeah, that would be a better match.
Yeah. But it's not. I'm not saying I wouldn't watch. Like, if they did an Indiana Jones show with him at that age, maybe, I guess, being like just a connective tissue, sure. But if you're going to do a movie, you got to get like a Chris Pratt or Bradley Cooper or somebody like that. In fact, we have a recommendation right here from DCB Titan. It says Ryan Gosling is the next Indiana Jones. That's not a bad choice. I think
it is, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But that could be because every single time I see Ryan Gosling in a movie, I know it's going to be a really, really depressing movie that makes you feeling like really down afterwards. And that's like my association every single time I see him. I'm like, oh, just by looking at him, because
I get what you're saying.
The kind of movies that he does.
Have you seen Blade Runner?
Yeah, perfect example. I mean, what a cheerful movie was that?
Good point. That is a good point. Never mind. Moving on. Mecha Jason. Indiana Jones 5. Dial of Destiny's Child, featuring a soundtrack by Beyonce and the rest of Destiny's Children.
I mean, that could happen before you know it. Well, not Destiny's Child anymore these days, but like in principle.
Yeah. And then we got Super Tolden. Am I saying that right, Andre?
Trolden. Super Trolden. Super Trollen. That's the super troll. So we have a real life Danish troll. You know how that is.
A super one at that.
Yeah. From the Danish troll factory in South Park.
Sweet. Indy 1 through 3 are adventures, not spectacles. Story exploring something unknown versus action scenes on a string. Yeah. There's that too. There's a different feeling to those first 3 movies. Does this dress make my ass look big? Says, when I hear Dial, I think soap. Dial equals soap, cleaning up Indy's misogynistic past. Also, Indy is the new Scully. Well, there's a good question. I wonder how old you are. Because there were some people making that point that, like we just did earlier too. Like, does people even know what a dial is anymore? And I think there's your answer. When most younger people probably think of dial, they think of the soap. There's our answer. Yeah, that makes sense. And you can go ahead and take back over 6. Sorry about that. If you want to. We were having some issues with StreamYard, so I was letting 6 take over the super chats. Then I jumped in on her. So I'll let her take over. I don't know where we're on next. I think it's this one, but I'll go ahead with this one, and then you go ahead and take over afterwards. Mega J says, remember when Ford got injured on the set and the film's production had to be put on hold? He's at that age where he shouldn't play a role requiring intense stunts that Indy does. That's the fucking funny part. On both The Force Awakens and Indy, from my understanding, is he wasn't even doing stunts when he got hurt both times. That's the funny part. I don't know what was going on Indy, but he was just walking through a doorway on Star Wars, and the door was supposed to close behind him, and it closed too soon, and it caught his ankle. That's what happened to him on Star Wars. I don't know what happened on Indy. Wasn't it something to do with his shoulder?
I don't know. I just hope that he's quit flying.
That he can walk away from a crash.
Yeah, at his age, I don't know.
He has had, what, 3-4 crashes now? So he's fine. He's indestructible. Just not on a set. Just Nova says Nova 1138 says Disney is now lazy and predictable. Visually appealing trailers with no synopsis. And then Lord Helmet fooled you. Ha ha. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even find it all that visually appealing. I know some people did, but it just did not feel like Indiana Jones to me. At least the Crystal Skull trailer, it made me want to go see the movie. At least it tricked me into thinking I was going to get an Indiana Jones movie. I can smell this shit from a mile away. Like, to me, there's a lot off about this. I hope I'm fucking wrong. I hope I come out of that movie with a glowing review, but I got a bad feeling about this. What about you, Andre?
I always hope to be pleasantly surprised. And long-time viewers, they know that if I am pleasantly surprised at something that I expect to be horrible, I will always let you know that. Always, every single time. I'm expecting this to be horrible, which to the movie's benefit is then it takes all the less to impress me. Like, case in point, Black Adam, I expected that to be awful, and I loved it because the expectations were that low. So this only has to be medium for me to give it a good review. We'll see if it can muster that.
Indeed. Tommy Reviews says, would Atlantis work for Indy? I think it would. It would have been a better choice than the Crystal Skull stuff. I was thinking that's where they were going to go with the 4th film.
You know what? I would totally see that. I believe that they've already done that in like a video game or something.
I think there is a video game, yeah.
Yeah, I think that like LucasArts did a game like that. But still, I absolutely think that would work, especially in this day and age. Going back to Graham Hancock, that is something that is more relevant again, because many people, they hear Atlantis and they sigh. And I don't blame them for that, but Graham Hancock's whole thesis is that there was an advanced seafaring civilization more than 12,000 years ago, and that there is some evidence both in mythology, in Plato, and everything like this to suggest that there may have been, no conclusive proof, but you have like the circumstantial evidence that there may have been something to it. So that alone is better cover for doing a proper Indiana Jones movie than were the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, you're right. You don't. Sorry.
And certainly the Dial of Destiny.
I was gonna say, you're right, because in that sense you don't even really necessarily have to go to Atlantis itself, even if it's just an artifact that kind of proves that, maybe it does exist. Like you said, because that's kind of what Indy's all about, right? It's like
all they have to do is just read Graham Hancock's book, and half the movie is right there. half the movie is just pointing out the stuff that's already there in those books. It's like, these pyramids look awfully similar. These hieroglyphs in this culture that had nothing to do with this culture, they depict the same freaking thing. How is that? I mean, there's so many stuff like that right there, just in discovering those and doing that whole Da Vinci Code with them, there you have half the movie. And then you just have to make some conclusion and hopefully not drop the ball completely in the third act. From my point of view, Indiana Jones and the Quest for Atlantis, or Indiana Jones and the Sunken Kingdom. That would be the title. It would freaking write itself.
Well, even that's a little too on the nose.
It's better than Dial of Destiny.
It'd be like Indiana Jones and the Lost Civilization. Sounds more like something that they would be.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Because it's always like a cryptic. Like I said, it has to be something that would roll off. It can't just be like too on the nose. Like that's why I love the Last Crusade is probably my favorite of all the titles.
And it's also my favorite of all the movies.
It's not my favorite of the movies, but it's my favorite of the titles because it's such a play on everything that's in the movie.
Yeah.
So, but let's keep rolling. And Dr. Coffin Nails did point out that they did do game and graphic novel of that. So,
well, that's no reason not to do it again in a movie.
Yeah. And then Master Clockwork says, Indiana Jones, the Turtles in Time. Cowabunga, Indy. JD Ford just sends in $1, doesn't say anything, but just sent in $1. Thank you, JD, for the support. Marksman of 117B says, how about Indiana Jones and the Rivers of Destiny? That sounds better than what we got. I'll give you that. Yeah. The Destiny part is also too pretentious. Sorry, go ahead.
But of course, you also have like a double entendre in there, because there you, of course, going back to the Last Crusades, there you have River Phoenix, who some say were destined to not make it beyond a certain age.
Well, here's another aspect of the indie films that I think Crystal Skull missed out on, and I think this movie's going to miss out on too. And you can feel free to disagree with me if I'm wrong. I'm not even going to argue with people. But you know that stupid thing that goes around where people say, Indiana Jones doesn't play any real part in Raiders of the Lost Ark. The same thing would have happened without him. I disagree completely. Each one of those first 3 movies, those movies play out in a sense that each one of the villains would have won if Indiana Jones didn't happen to show up at the right time in the right place. To a point. The only difference is in the Raiders of the Lost Ark one, I'll make an argument because they would have took them forever to find the fucking where to dig. But that's a whole nother argument I'm not getting into. But him getting involved there stopped the Nazis from getting it. The second film is he stopped the kidnapping of the kids from the village and brought the kids back and all that kind of stuff. And stopped the evil kingdom from taking over and all that business. And then the third film, of course, he stopped the Nazis from getting the fucking Holy Grail. In Crystal Skull, there is that aspect, but he's still too proactive in the Crystal Skull element of it. Because he already knows about him from the start and shit, it seems like. And because they get him involved right away. And that's where it just kind of feels like it's getting off on the wrong step. And I have a feeling this movie's going to be the same way. Because it already has something to do with something in his past, as we've seen in the thing with the whole time traveling element. I don't know if you get what I'm saying on that part, Andre, but it's like part of the charm of Indiana Jones is he just kind of accidentally or kind of finds his way into getting into these things that are already taking place and set in motion. Outside of Crystal Skull and seemingly this film, we don't know yet. He just kind of gets thrusted into the action, right? Better examples, Last Crusade, right? He just completely gets whisked into that because of what his dad was doing. And he just was like, oh shit, that's why I got that in the mail the last week. And it all kind of comes together in that moment, right? Crystal Skull, he's involved from the very beginning. And I think the same thing is going to be said here with this one. I don't know if you get that. I know that was another long rant.
Yeah, no, I get it. And yeah, you're probably right. It's going to be the worst thing of all worlds because it's made by people who don't get it. Like our only hope is James Mangold here. And he's
kind of like the Jack Burton element. Sorry.
Yeah. And he's working under the direction of Kathleen Kennedy, and I have very little faith in this.
It's kind of like the Jack Burton element, in Big Trouble in Little China. He's only there because of happenstance kind of thing. He just wants his fucking truck, and he just kind of keeps stumbling into the adventure and being part of saving the day, kind of thing. But anyway, I know that was a big long rant. Sorry about that, guys. Shadow Dancer, the Red Mage, has been a member for 2 months at the Viking level and says, Indiana Jones and the Stone of Destiny, he finds Excalibur. Yeah, that's a little better. I just don't like the whole destiny thing in the title because it makes it sound like it's set in like there's a destiny, that to me tells me they're going to erase his thing. That's one element of the whole leaks I wasn't so sure about. And how can you erase him in history and have her go back and do all that? That's the part that makes me wonder, wait a minute.
Dealing with destiny will do that.
Exactly. I don't like that in the title. That bothers me. Mr. Tickle Trunk says Mohammed said had a great idea. Harrison Ford tells a story and you get younger actors to play the late 20s Indy. Well, that's what they did in Young Indiana Jones show to begin with. Then you've rebooted with Harrison Ford involved. Yeah, you can do that. But here's the other sad part, not to be all morbid and shit. It's not like Harrison Ford is going to be with us forever. And clearly Lucasfilm and Star Wars want this character to live on. And it's not going to work through Fleabag.
Do they know that?
No, they don't. And that's where I keep expressing this whole idea of just James Bonding the character. But anyway, moving on. DCV Titan says, hell, even if they wanted to stick to Christian relics, there's still stuff like Noah's Ark and the Spear of Longinus, if I'm saying that right. I don't think I am. Yeah. Didn't they do some novels with some other stuff too? There's tons of novels.
Spear of Longinus, is that the spear that was in Constantine?
Longinus, that's what I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you would say that either.
I can't remember. I think there is. I think they may have already done something with that in one of the novels or something, but I can't remember now. I know they did a shit ton of them, but anyway. Default names as emasculated Hollywood means Indy Jones has to be female now. Who else? Nick Jonas? Robert Pattinson, perhaps?
Yeah, that's a risk with the recasting.
That is true.
Only decide someone that we need a modern man for an evolving audience because men are evolving. So we're going to go with someone that's low on testosterone. That absolutely.
You know what though? Pattinson has his patsies. That's what I'm going to call him. Because every time I fucking mention him and the possibility of Batman 2 not happening, oh my fucking God, does at least 2 or 3 of them sons of bitches lose their minds. You know what's fucked up though? Is half of them or more of them are men than women. You would think that they would be women. No. No. I don't know. Does this dress make my ass look big? Says Doctor Who fans rejoice. PWB possible scriptwriter. Who's PWB? I'm not a huge Doctor Whovian, so I don't know somebody's gonna have to help me out here.
Yeah, well, you guys just sort it out in the chat because both Tom and myself are complete Doctor Who novices. Although I probably know more than you because
you probably do.
Of seeing some of the classic episodes with the guy with the long scarf and the invention of the Daleks. And that was pretty decent, actually.
That's about my era. I've seen random episodes on PBS. We're talking maybe a handful.
That episode even had my friend Guy Signer in it. Maybe I should try to have him on one of these days. That would be cool. But yeah.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Oh, Jesus Christ. I get the joke.
Right. Now. Oh, no. Oh, is she a possible?
I don't know if it's a joke or if he's being serious. Let me look.
Why the hell would he joke about something like that?
I know. That's true. But it is Doctor Who is over at Disney now. Oh, fucking hell. He's not joking.
As I said, who the hell would joke about something like that?
Oh, Lord. According to the Daily Mail and the Sun from a day and 2 days ago, BBC bosses draft in Phoebe Waller-Bridge to help reboot Doctor Who in a bid to challenge Marvel. Are you fucking kidding me? That is hilarious. They don't own Doctor Who, Goku McDuck, but I think they're releasing the newer seasons here on Disney Plus, so I think they're
it's just a distribution deal. They have no owner.
Yeah.
But of course they might as well just buy it from the BBC and give it to Kathleen Kennedy, because why the hell wouldn't you at this point give it to Kathleen Kennedy and to Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
The next best thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Because what would she do with it? Give it to Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She'd be like, oh, Doctor Who, that's British. Who do I know is British and can write? Oh, yeah. That would be a third time she's went to her now. And that's the other thing, is Hollywood probably still gives her some kind of credit for the whole Bond thing, too. It's like, you do realize that movie barely made money just because people wanted to see James Bond. Pinochet's Helicopter Tours says, I remember the cassette tape transformer scaling in the cartoon. They changed size before inserting themselves into Soundwave. The Walkman X-Former transformer. Yeah. Yeah. They never really did explain that part to me either.
That was part of the this is the 80s. You're a kid, just accept it and shut up. Look at the cool thing. That's kind of like how that
You know what the bigger one for me was when Megatron would turn into the gun.
Yeah.
That was the one that always bothered me.
Yeah,
but anyway.
That did seem kind of puny.
STR Redwolf says VW Bumblebee is better than any other form. Yeah, that did bother me when at least Bumblebee kind of looks more like a cross between the two versions, but obviously
what would have been cool in the first movie was if he first had been a beaten up old bug and then turned into the Camaro, rather than being a Camaro from the first moment, which was only because they had an exclusive deal with the GM. I mean, that's why everything was changed, including why Optimus Prime was the wrong kind of truck.
Yeah, and then of course they had their deal with what is it, GM or whoever?
Yeah, exactly, GM.
Yeah. Tommy Reviews says Hasbro Studio series is very successful. They decided to remake Bay's design toy-wise, but they kept true to the scaling. They started adding G1. Yeah, I'm not big on as far as like, I'm not big. I mean, I don't keep up with the Transformer toys, but I do know that they did an anniversary line is what I was talking about before. But yeah, that's cool. Dr. Coffinail says, the hell with Transformers. When I get a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, oh, it's coming next year. Godzilla and Kong. In fact, you must have missed that mead, Dr. Coffinails, where I showed off they had some crew hats and jackets that leaked off the set. So yeah, they've been fast forwarding that. That was one of the things that Zaslav pushed for to get fast tracked. And so I'm curious how that's the Legendary deal is going to go now that they have their deal with Sony. I'm sure they have to, adhere to all their classic contracts. But no, as far as I know, Godzilla vs. Kong is already done shooting, and it should be out, I believe, next summer, if I'm not mistaken. So let me look here real quick. You can keep going along with the next super chat if you want.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that in the meantime.
Yeah.
Let me just 6. Will you update or shall I? 6 got it. Perfect. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says for $2. Which number Transformers film is Pacific Rim? That would be number 11 and 12. Yeah, I'm making that canon right here. So we have still a few more movies to go until we get into the Pacific Rim timeline.
And it looks like early 2024. So March 2024 is the date so far on Godzilla. So, but I've heard things are moving along smoothly. So Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says, will this be the last Guardians of the Galaxy film? I don't know if it's going to be the last film, but I think it's going to be the last run for some of these actors or / characters.
I think it's going to be the last. I think it's going to be the last film, and I think it's going to be the last we see of these characters. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to retire, and the only way I can see it continue is if Marvel decides to just continue using the brand name with a completely new team, and that's going to fail. But the Guardians of the Galaxy, as we know it, ends with this movie, because that's when James Gunn leaves. And even the cast have made it clear, like some more than others. Dave Bautista, for example, has made it clear that he's not in it for Marvel. Right. He's in it for James Gunn. He's in the James Gunn business, not the Marvel business. And we saw this like the moment when James Gunn was first fired. Bautista.
And I have a feeling his brother will follow him too. So yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, of course his brother's going to follow him, and probably so many of the others, because remember, all of the cast of the Guardians, when Gunn was cancelled, they took a few days to discuss and meditate, and then they all came out in support of him and made it clear, we're with Gunn. So him leaving Marvel, that means you can kiss this team goodbye.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to kill off everybody, but I do agree with you, Andre, that they will probably continue forward if they do with a new crew for the most part. And some of them may get set up in this movie. I think that's why the Otter and Cosmo and some of the other characters are being introduced, probably at Disney's request. But here's the thing, and this is my speculative brain going off. I think in an alternate universe where Thor: Love and Thunder actually made money, that Disney would have, I don't think they will now, because I don't think they're as friendly with Waititi anymore. I mean, they're still friendly probably, but as we've heard, it doesn't sound like he's coming back for any more Marvel movies. I think the plan would have been, had that been successful, to let Taika take over the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it would have been a fucking disaster.
Well, we could see that right away in
with Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah, because those weren't the Guardians. That was their corporeal presence on screen, but that wasn't them.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have nothing to go on with that. I have no rumors or anything like that. It's pure speculation, considering the situation at the House of Mouse and how they were all on board with Taika Waititi until Thor: Love and Thunder underperformed, and then things suddenly changed. If you noticed,
funny how that works. Hollywood are very quick to turn their backs on people.
Yeah. But as far as as we know it, yeah, I think this is the last stand for this crew, and obviously James Gunn. Aloha Boy says, just watched the new Willow, and I'm upset they had Mad Mardigan off screen go on a quest for a pack of cigarettes to never come back. Oh Lord, this is a mess and a half. Aloha. I watched about 5-10 minutes of it. I've talked to a few other people who've seen more, and I'm just completely disgusted with what they did to the movie. So yeah, I'm just fine not indulging any longer. I feel your pain. Then we got Master Clockwork, who says, there's already way more hype for the new Transformers than Avatar: Way of the Soy. I bet my bottom dollar it does better at the box office. Yeah, there was a bit of buzz for Transformers that I have not seen at all for Avatar. Got a point there. Then, whoops, that one didn't go away for me. So, Captain Fandom Nerd has been here for 17 months. Thank you. Wolf says, do you like Peach's voice? Too tomboyish, in my opinion. Talking about Mario Brothers. Anna Taylor-Joy does the voice. We haven't heard too much yet, so I'm gonna hold off my opinion on that. There was a shorter trailer that showed a little bit more of Chris Pratt that got pulled down. Evidently Universal pulled it down. I don't know why, but that tells me maybe they're going to change his voice some more.
I hope so.
So I wouldn't get too hung up on the voices just yet. This movie's got a little ways off, and they can know it's a quick fix when it comes to voiceovers. That's like one of the least of their problems if they have to make a change. Because all they got to do is just get the actor in, resync the voice, and that's it. So we'll see how that works out, though. I do understand that there is some people worried about that, though. Camelbot Killer says if Wakanda 2 made 700 plus million, Indy will make some money. Make the same money. You might be right, Camelbot Killer. We'll have to wait and see though how much of an effect Crystal Skull had on the franchise. I don't think it was nearly as bad as, it could have been, but I think word of mouth will also have a lot to do with that. But we'll have to see. It all depends. I mean, if the movie's decent enough, yeah, you're probably right. Aloha Boy says, why do I keep getting this one? I'm going to unstar that. Sorry. Stupid StreamYard. Willie the Monkey King is here, and he says Vox Machina is turning into a new IP with a lasting effects. Also look at anime for new lasting IPs. Oh yeah, there's a good point. I don't even think of those because I'm not a huge anime fan, but yeah. Miss Chicken Trunk says number one, Tom is emceeing the show. 2, people talk over Tom too. This is true. G-Man says rewatching Raiders of the Lost Ark will be enjoyable, but proving Tom wrong will be absolute delight. Yeah, I can't remember. I know he said he's a skeptic, at least. I think that's what I was getting up on. Does this dress make my ass look big? Says Tiff plus Tickle Tiffle. That works. Cajun Bowser says Sony is a wild card here as they have movie side and TV side with anime in tow. Yeah, but wasn't a lot of people upset that they bought the stuff they bought though as far as anime? So I don't know. I don't keep up with that stuff, so you guys know that stuff, but not me. Camelbot Killer says I'll never see another film from Disney after Bad Batch season 2 in January 23 ends. I'm canceling my Disney subscription. I won't see Guardians in the theater. Well, that's your choice.
Yeah, that's your choice. But actually, I would say that if you want to see Guardians and you want to support Gunn, absolutely go and see Guardians. You know why? Because it's a data point. And if you want to use your voice or your money to influence a company, literally to vote with your dollar, you can't just withdraw completely. Of course, that's your choice if you want to do, but like if you really want to make a change, you can't just withdraw completely, because that way you don't actually send any kind of message other than I'm done with you. Because then why should Disney care about you? Why should they cater to you when you're not going to come back at all? What would be far more efficient? And this was the good thing with Spider-Man No Way Home. It provided an incredibly valuable data point, because Marvel, they can't really say that there's fatigue, or they can try, but you have the data point of Spider-Man No Way Home to disprove that argument. When that movie that had no message did absolutely amazing, and then you have all of the other movies that are filled with message and they all do half of what they were supposed to do, just the comparison right there between those two, that's valuable. That is how companies learn. That's lessons that they cannot ignore. If everything does bad, including the good stuff, they're just going to decide that, well, people are done with Marvel. Okay, let's go and buy Doctor Who and make that less problematic, and that'll be our next big thing. That's what happens there. If you want positive change, they have to have a spike in their financial reward for the good stuff, because that is part of voting with your wallet. Then you actually have to vote for the stuff that you want. But again, I'm saying if you don't want to see Guardians, that's entirely your choice. But those that do want to teach the company a lesson, do go see Guardians in the theater.
Then he says, I can't wait for Cameron for an update to his theory. Yeah, hopefully we get to hear from Cameron again soon. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says Bob believes Disney political stance is the moral one. Yeah, that's the other problem we have. Then Darius Munchausen sends us in a super sticker. It is a red box of popcorn. Thank you so much, Darius. We appreciate that. And then Kitty Bear has been a member for 16 months and says Indiana Jones and the denial of Disney. Krampus Jeebus has been a member for 10 months at the Midnighter level. Thank you so much. Michael Laparco says, what would a David Lynch Return of the Jedi look like? We wouldn't have known where Jabba began and Salacious Crumb ended. That's what it would have looked like.
Probably.
He would have had a lot of fun with Jabba's palace, let's say. Other than that, I have no idea. Honestly, I think he would have had a worse experience than he did with Dune. Because with Dune, as I'm sure Andre will back me up here, when it came to the filming aspect, he was pretty much given free reign. It wasn't until that part was over that they took the movie away from him.
Yeah.
If he would have done Return of the Jedi, he would have had George breathing down his neck the entire fucking time. And he would have quit, I bet. After about
it would have been an epochal production nightmare that would have gone down in history for all the wrong reasons. So we're better off that didn't happen, I think.
I just don't think he would ever finish the movie.
That's exactly what I mean. He would have started, he wouldn't have finished, and it would have been a production nightmare to go down in history.
Then again, if that would have happened, that means George Lucas probably would have taken over. And this has nothing, I'm not like bashing George or anything like that. That's just the way he is. He's very, he micromanaged Empire and Jedi more so. And you can see it even with Willow, and that's why, basically in so many words, Ron Howard turned him down to direct the prequels. Because he didn't want to direct a movie for George, because it's George's vision. He's like, George can direct his own vision, and he kind of had to just do what George wanted him to do on Willow, and I could tell he didn't want to do that again. So, but the sad part is we got that stupid Willow remake thingy now, so whatever. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says, can't we just get River Phoenix to play Indy again?
Might be. You might
want to Google River Phoenix. I think he's playing on the joke from the other day. Matthew W. has been a member for 13 months at the Edgelord level. The indie trailer music was even terrible. Yes. I hope it isn't as bad as it sounds, since I love John Williams. Now he's supposedly composing the music for this, right? But I've heard that he doesn't really, for like the last few years, he doesn't really do a bulk of the work. He actually has a couple assistants that do a lot of the work. And if with the Star Wars films, it kind of shows there's no new real themes in there. Rey got a new theme, I think, in Force Awakens. I'm stretching to remember if there was any new themes added for, there probably was, but they were just so immemorable. Is that the word I'm looking for? That memorable, yeah. That I couldn't place them in my head. And Rey's, I couldn't hum to you right now. I just remember it because it's when she's sledding down the sand dune, and it was the only new music that I just happened to. Oh yeah, that's new. But after that, I just was not. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention to the music. So yeah, they're kind of like I guess you would call them understudies, but they're more or less like assistants. A great example of this is was it Sherry Walker? Is that her name? Who went on to compose like the music for like the Batman animated series, and now has become a composer in her own right. She basically worked with Danny Elfman for years, and she helped him do like, that's why like if you listen to her music, you could probably hear where a lot of her work went in with Danny's in comparison to his music now. So I don't know, if you go back and listen to some of their music on YouTube, you can probably hear the difference between older Danny Elfman music and newer Danny Elfman music, and then go to listen to some of her music, and you'll see, oh, okay. You'll get what I'm saying. And yeah, so yeah, but oh, that's right, she did pass away, didn't she? That's right. Fuck. See, there I went, and I should have Googled it.
Yeah, exactly. Always Google.
Then Pinochet says, scene where L7 appropriates a Jones name at the end. Ooh.
I don't recall that. Like I have repressed that movie to the best of my ability.
No, I think what he's saying here is, will there be a scene at the end of this where she goes, I'm whatever my name is, and instead of Brody, she changes it to Jones. No.
I would not be surprised if there was some kind of reference. I mean, if nothing else, then the director, he is going to be aware of the visual links and gags that have been between Indiana Jones and Star Wars before, and he's going to include something. And when you have like one joint actor in Phoebe Waller-Bridge, then why not? Why not?
Yeah, I hope not. I think it's a bad move making her Marcus's daughter, or granddaughter, or whatever.
If all of these rumors that we've heard are true, and they probably are, they might as well go all in and make it the worst they possibly can. That's why I say, yeah, sure, why not? If you're gonna go do it, then do it all the way. Go. I want the Wokies to go full retard to expose their insanity.
All right. Mecha J says they could have actor who auditioned for the role of Han in the Solo movie. Yeah. What's his face?
I never. But anyway, the guy.
I always
who
forget his name.
looks,
Yeah, but yeah, not Alden.
The guy who actually looks like
Yeah.
a young Harrison Ford. Something Alden Ehrenreich in no way, shape, or form did. Just because someone's daughter thought that, oh, Alden, he's so cute.
Yeah.
He looks nothing like Harrison Ford.
Actually, wasn't it Spielberg? I thought it was Spielberg who had, because he worked with him on some movie, and he's like, oh, Alden can, he'd be good for it.
Which only goes to show that
Anthony Ingruber, thank you, JD.
Yeah, that's
and Brain Sync.
Which only goes to show that Spielberg is no longer the director he once was, because then, I mean, Alden Ehrenreich might very well be a good actor in his own right, but he was so wrong for that particular part. And then you had all of the other issues with the movie on the side, so it wouldn't really have helped. But of course, no one's even going to buy Indiana Jones fundamentally, because of Alden was just the wrong cast for that movie.
No, I think the irony of irony is their excuse was they didn't want to hire him because they thought he'd end up needing acting lessons, and then they ended up having to give Alden acting. They had to get Alden acting lessons.
Yeah, they had like something that, no, we cannot have an Harrison Ford lookalike. We need someone who can make the role his own, and all that Hollywood bull crap, right? No, for that particular role, you do want a Harrison Ford lookalike. That's the only way that it's gonna be accepted, and even then, it's doubtful. But it's more likely than with someone completely different.
It could turn out a lot like Superman Returns, though. You do run that risk. That's a problem.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Because
I get
the
you.
thing with Superman Returns, they were going very specifically after the Christopher Reeve Superman, but the Christopher Reeve Superman is just one of many Superman. He was like what, number like 3, 4 in the chain of men who had played Superman.
No, I get you where you're going with this. There's only one Indiana Jones. I get
it. Exactly. There's only one Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford is his name. Every other iteration of Indiana Jones has been made in the image
and River
of
Phoenix
Harrison
and Sean
Ford.
Patrick Flannery. But anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I get where you're coming from. Glade Raven says Indiana Jones and the unloved Namor. Oh, yeah. Namor.
Yeah, the unloved Namor. That would be right there.
Gay Bay says, was there ever a script for the Spear of Destiny? I was going to ask that earlier, because I think isn't that the one? Yeah, with the Spear of Legina or whatever. How do you say that thing we said earlier?
Yeah, that thing, and it was the thing we saw in the Constantine movie.
Yes, the spear that pierced Christ's side. Yeah. Yeah,
which I'd never heard about before that movie, but that's me.
Yeah, it's I got kicked out of catechism, okay? I didn't get to that part. DCB Titan says Indiana Jones and the Conquerors of the Sunken Kingdom. A little bit better. It's got to have a mystic value to it, though. Matthew W. says Indiana Jones in the case of the adult diapers. Well, I guess it depends. Get it? No? Okay. Moving on. That was a bad joke. Pinochet Helicopter Tour says Indiana Jones and how communism isn't so bad. What is that? Starring Yi?
That, unfortunately, is a movie that Disney these days absolutely could have made. But yeah, moving on.
Stian, you're gonna. How do I say
Stian Monstad?
Stian Monstad has been a member for 4 months, and I'm just learning your name. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed. Camelbot Killer says Indiana Jones and the feeling of deja vu. Wait, what? Yes. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says Indiana Jones and the America's cultural appropriation. That'd probably be the movie they'd love to make. Matthew W. says BBC is woker than woke. Yes, they are. And then we got Paul Chabano. Am I saying that right? Who's a new member. Thank you so much, Paul. And Dirowan sends in €5 with a happy puppy and a heart. Thank you so much, Dirowan. We appreciate that. He's a happy puppy. And then we got Goku McDuck, who says Godzilla versus Kong versus Gamera needs to happen already. Yeah, but Gamera, isn't he under a different studio? Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know if that's Toho as well. Or,
I don't think it is. I think it was a different studio's answer to Godzilla, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be fucking wrong. I'm not up on all my kaiju business. Dr. Coffin says he is. I mean, I'm assuming he means he is from a different, Toei.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. That would be something else.
I'm sure I said that wrong, but I knew what it meant. Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Secret Elder. Oh, God.
That's starring Stan Lee.
Ooh. Oh, you had to take it darker, didn't you? You're just like Drax.
Well, it still has a Disney theme, doesn't it?
We're going to kill everybody who gets in our way. We're not going to kill anybody. All right, we're going to kill some people. No, we're not killing anybody. All right, we'll kill one man, one sad man that nobody likes. That's Andre. He's like Drax.
I do like Drax. I have to say, I see a bit of myself in him sometimes.
And be like, okay, we're gonna take the village and kill them all. We can't kill everybody. All right, we're gonna kill some of them. Then we can't take any slaves. Oh, okay, we'll kill one. That'd be Andre. No, I'm kidding.
Probably, yeah.
I'm kidding, of course. He would never be a slaver. He would just pillage the village. Camelbot Killer says, Andre, the only way Disney will get fixed is corporate takeover like Warner Brothers, or investors sue for failure of fiduciary duties of their investment for woke.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Possibly.
Those are the 2 ways it can happen. Yeah.
I mean, I've joked about corporate takeovers before, but we're getting to the point where those things could be a plausibility.
And certainly for fixing it, but of course that assumes that the corporation taking over wants to make money rather than that they want some means of influence.
And then Malice Flare lets us know that Gamera is under Katakawa. I am horrible at those, sorry. So there you go. Camelbot Killer says, I want to see Guardians, but Disney not getting my money. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Fair. Entirely fair.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
Understandable. And then Flavius Alacanther, if I'm saying that right, says Indiana Jones and the Member Berries. That's the problem, though. I didn't even really get much for Member Berries out of this.
Well, they tried.
They tried, but it was a poor attempt. Like, I saw straight through it. And again, I'm not trying to say that anybody's being duped or they're stupid or anything like that. Just for me, it's just like, nuh-uh, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing the George Bush fuck up now. God damn it, we won't get fooled again. That's what I'm trying to say. And then he sends in another one and says, Cindy Anna Jones and the Temple of the Patriarch.
That's probably the title of the Disney Plus series.
Oh, Lord.
With Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Indiana Jones taking over or redoing his adventures.
And yes, Unix EDU, you're probably right. Cocaine Bear will be better than this. And that's why I need an animator. I want to make a version of Cocaine Bear on my own. Starring me. I'm a cocaine bear. Yeah, it'll basically be a parody of Scarface. Pooh Face, the cocaine bear. Yeti, help me with that. Anyway, Sin 1, Sijin 1, I think that's how you say it. Sin 1 says, I can tell you Disney is botching their anime releases with the stupid idea of releasing all the season after weekly broadcast on Japan. Yeah, I heard they were getting into the anime business. Whoa, and you guys are firing in a bunch more here. So many super chats at the last second here. It's crazy. Look at this. We got Irish Milkman. That's a new one. It says, yes, there's only one Indiana Jones. It was the dog. We called the dog Indy. But what if he gets the dog in the end, according to Kathleen Kennedy? Mr. Tickle Trunk says, I'm watching in Diana Jones porn parody.
I bet there's going to be some more ones after this movie. Going to have some Phoebe Waller-Bridge lookalikes. That'll be fun.
In Diana Jones. I like that, Mr. Tickle Trunk. And Stian Monstead says, hey, Andre, so have you seen Troll yet?
Yes, I have. And I was hoping to talk a little bit more about it in this stream, but it's so late now. We're going to save it for later.
I think you should just do a review.
A video is coming, and I think I'm going to team up with someone for this video. I think you're really going to dig it. So, very cool Troll video coming.
And that's no trolling.
Yeah, and also J.D. Ford says that I'm sure he's seen Troll Hunter. Too bad Otto Jespersen is a douchebag. Troll Hunter is an even better movie than Troll. And Otto Jespersen, he's the guy who played the Troll Hunter. At the premiere of that movie, I actually had like a drink with Otto Jespersen outside of it. He was pretty cool. So, yeah, I had a good time with that.
And then Paulie sent us a super chat, and that's the end of the show. No, he says Godfather 3 really sucked. Hey, Andre. Yeah,
hey, Paulie.
Paul. And says Jagar says, are we guaranteed another Ewan McGregor car video calling us misogynist instead of racist when Indy 5 releases since he is married to Fleabag? He is?
No. You got this wrong. Ewan McGregor is not married to Fleabag. Ewan McGregor is married to that woman in Birds of Prey, the one shooting the arrow. He's married to her. Like, he ditched his wife and 3 kids for her. Fleabag, she is married to some super duper hyper wealthy Irish
Connor
dude or something. Yeah,
the Shoreditch area of London. She married Irish presenter and documentary filmmaker Connor Woodman.
Yeah, something like that. Or yeah. So no. McGregor is not married to Fleabag. But of course, if Disney says that, hey, we're going to need another car video from you, that's not going to stop it.
Yeah, that'd be funny. I know I have nothing to do with Indiana Jones, but leave Fleabag alone. I mean, Phoebe Waller-Bridge alone. That'd be funny. I said weed bag, not Fleabag. God damn it. Anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a week. Take care of yourselves and each other. What time is it, Andre?
It is time for some koalas after Mike has had his footage. And he says,
Mikey, I love you, brother.
Is an American masterpiece. Paul's mustache is an abomination. And Troll and Wave movies rock. Yeah, most Norwegian movies suck. But those that are really cool, like Troll and the Wave, they actually are really, really cool. And for those of you who want to see Troll, I've heard good things about the American dub, but do yourself a favor. It comes with the American dub as default. You just want to change the settings and watch it with original Norwegian language and with subtitles, because that's the way to watch it. And then Mr. Tickle Trunk says, release the koalas fast. Yes, I agree. Tom, koalas.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koalas in the rain.